This podcast is scheduled for one fall. Introducing your hosts, hailing from Hull, England, Callum McGuinness, Jamie Bell, Kurt Johansson, and James Coggan. This is the One Ball Podcast.
Welcome to One Fall Podcast, episode 10. And I hit some drums then. Episode 10. I am the overweight cruiserweight, Jamie Bell. To my right, the sexy-ass lottery Pepsi kid, Mr. No Days Off shit-staring Callum McInnes.
Hello.
My co-host, Dave. Do you want to introduce the other two? Because Kat's back. I'll leave that to you.
Oh, yes. First of all, we have the return of the Asian... No.
The Asian?
The African Swede sensation, Kurt Johansson, and the ass man, as he likes to be known, amongst the ladies. And I have been asked to read the following statement to correct some misunderstanding on last week's podcast.
Fucking hell, what's he going to say?
I didn't call Zayn turning heel. I said to Jamie, the way he said to turn Zayn heel would have made them both faces. Can't remember what you said, how it should happen. I said to Callum that Zayn heel turn has to happen to someone truly over for it to be successful. So with it happening to Shane, worked. Ha ha. Jamie Bell, proper raging. Ha ha. And thus ends the official statement. And further to my left, we have the Crimson Mask, James Coggan. Hey! Last week...
Why are we cheering?
We got my name right. He didn't think James was the same name last
well,
week.
he didn't.
I'm like Cher.
Yeah, it's just James.
You know if you listen to the podcast.
He said that last week. He said that the week before.
He's good. He's
Now,
good at it.
I just want to point out, right? Dave promised something lavish this week.
Lads,
So,
Apart from
for
calling me a
the-
lady killer and referencing Chris Benoit.
He
Well-
promised a fiesta.
yeah, episode 10, you said there was going to be lavish.
lads, as you know, I have generously bought you, and you're enjoying them now. Bière Deluxe French Lager selected for Asda. Are you not enjoying that? And for my favourite member of the podcast, the Crimson Mask, I bought him a whacking great bottle of Jack Daniels and Coke. Now,
Sorry, Dave,
And cocaine. Just
And
to clarify.
cocaine.
you
yes.
promised the listeners a
Yeah.
lavish.
You could have brought
Podcast.
balloons or...
oh,
Yeah.
right,
Hookers
okay.
or-
That's it. Yeah, balloons, the visual medium
Yeah.
for the
Yes.
audio listeners.
Yes.
Hey, hookers at work. That'd get the rooms.
There's a mariachi band here as well. Like,
Oh,
We're
yeah.
gonna-
There's they're all tuning up.
You promised the listeners a lavish 10th episode.
Do I have to tell the listeners what you lot were discussing in the car?
Well, before we picked you up, funnily, you should mention that I had to listen to Callum and Kate talk about...
Oh, have you both seen He does
Apparently he's
know.
packing.
He is, by all accounts,
Yeah.
he says that it's known as legendary. Talking about penises, though, and just before we go straight into our next section without any interval at all, so that it can't possibly be cut out at all,
Yeah, this is being edited.
Kurt and Callum were discussing whether or not they should both take Viagra together.
This is true.
we did discuss that.
None of this should be edited
Yeah.
because the listeners want to listen to this.
Take Viagra, it works. Even if you don't need it, take it. It's good.
And this episode is brought to you by Feezer's Viagra.
But let's, like last week, let's get all of our social media plugs in now.
Oh, yes, shall I do this bit again?
Yes.
You can follow One Fall Pod at One Fall Pod on Twitter, One Fall Pod on Instagram, One Fall Pod on Snapchat,
We got a Snapchat, do we?
Yes.
Do we?
Oh, yes.
Since when?
I got it right.
Callum
Have
sends
it
his
with
cock shots of his Viagra. His Viagra-fueled penis.
See, no, you've
to our
never told me
listeners.
we had a Snapchat.
You wouldn't fucking use it anyway. You don't even use our Twitter, even though.
Do
Why would I tell you?
Well, it's nice to know.
Do I
You didn't even know we had a website, even though I'd shown you it about 20 times. Why would I tell you?
This
nice to
would
be kept in the
be...
loop.
Keeping all this in.
Yeah.
Nice to be kept in the
This
loop.
would-
I'm
be
sure
the,
I asked Jamie to tweet something out regarding the podcast, and he was like, "I'll leave that stuff up to you and Callum."
It's alright, we'll do the heavy lifting, Kurt.
Yeah.
No problem.
You can see our new fancy new website at www.14podcast.com. .co.uk.
Even I knew
You
that
don't
one.
follow me on Snapchat, I've noticed. Shall we
Do I
discuss
not?
that?
Yeah, let's discuss
I
that.
don't.
You don't. Why don't these two follow me on Snapchat?
Although I did.
No, that's true.
I
yeah.
did click a follow and it took like 7 months for you to accept it and you still didn't, so I thought, fuck it, I'm deleting it.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You both got rejected by Dave.
Yeah.
I probably didn't know who you were.
Dave, where can we find you on Twitter?
Oh, you can find me on Twitter. Now, there was
At
some
Dynamic
confusion
Thinking.
last week because these guys got my Twitter handle wrong. My Twitter
He
handle...
got it wrong.
my Twitter handle wrong.
You got it wrong. You called yourself something completely different last week.
You called yourself your gamer tag by
Yeah.
accident.
Yeah.
You're a bunch of gamer tags. You can follow me on Twitter at Dynamic Thinking.
God, did the amount of thinking it took to get that? Holy
I'm
shit.
also on the Instagrams as at Dynamic Thinking. We've been going 6 minutes already.
Yeah, well, we're going for 9.
And on Facebook as Dynamic Thinking. In fact, just Dynamic Thinking everywhere, apart from on gaming things where I'm a cult variable.
Be
Which
sure
is,
not to follow that one.
oh no, because all you'll do now is see me playing the South Park game, which is very good incidentally. Should we discuss that instead?
Actually, James, where can we find you?
Ironically, you can find me using my gamer tag
Oh, yes.
at Roman Oyster on all major social media platforms.
That's
and my
clever,
YouTube
that.
channel, Gamers Assemble, my Let's Play Gaming YouTube
Are
channel.
you in a band as well?
I'm in a band.
What's the band
The
called?
band is called Davidium. You can follow us everywhere at Davidium, and you can check us out on Spotify.
Fantastic.
Great t-shirts as well, by the way.
Thank you
Great
very
shirt.
much.
Great
Me and
t-shirts.
Jamie both have one. Great quality. About £8, I think.
Oh yeah, very
Get
reasonable
yourself a
price.
different-
Whoa, he charged me 10, right? Great
Kurt,
t-shirts.
Kurt, where can we find you?
So on Instagram and Twitter, it's at KJohansson93. On Facebook, just Kate Johansson.
Jamie?
Twitter, OWCW. Instagram, The Over at Cruiserweight. Facebook, just Jamie Bell, but don't add me because I don't know you, so I won't accept it.
Fair enough.
That's the spirit.
Unless you're female, then he will accept you.
Hold on, that's my principle for not adding people
Mine as well. Why would I add somebody I don't know?
Exactly, that's why I didn't add you
there's a
to.
fifth member of this podcast, eager.
Eager.
Oh, right.
Callum, yes.
He
I
is
want to get my
somebody,
plugs in.
he is
Right.
somebody that will add anybody.
I
he
need,
does
Yeah,
not
I
know.
need the
Yeah.
followers. I'll add anyone. I'll follow anyone back. You can follow me at Palace of Wisdom.
Dick
on
pics available
Twitter.
at...
Dick pics available at onefallpodcast.co.uk/shop. And that's it. That's it for me. But also, I'd like to get a plug in now for PW Polls, who sponsor all of our podcasts. They're very kind and retweet all of our polls, and they get a lot of interaction for us. So, little shout out for PW Polls.
Thanks, guys.
thank you very much.
guys.
Did you want to mention something about Patreon as well, or?
Yeah, also find us on patreon.com/onefallpod. You can back us from as little as $1, and we'll give you a shout out on the show.
Oh, I'm going to do that now.
Maybe
Just-
even send you a beer.
Just curious
Yeah.
before we start as well.
What's Patreon?
No, I don't know what Patreon is.
So
Well,
if
what
you've
is
not
Patreon?
if you're not realised just yet,
Edit this out. Edit
Jamie.
this out. This is a blooper. This is a deleted scene.
Jamie is very...
In
Technic-
fact,
tech-
if you follow us for $5 on Patreon, we'll do a secondary podcast where we explain
The
basic
incompetence.
modern technology to Jamie Bell
Like Justine.
and Patreon.
Yes, I would really appreciate that.
And he's only just got used to Snapchat.
I'm getting there, guys. Just quickly as well, we were talking about it in the car before we start. How do people sneeze? Do people have like certain sneeze sounds?
I didn't realise this was.
Well, I sneezed in the
One
car.
ball
I sneezed
sneezing
in the
podcast.
car, and Callum said, "You actually say achoo when you
He
sneeze."
does. He goes.
I'm-
Achoo!
Yeah.
I didn't think that was a real thing.
It does seem like a very comical, like almost like onomatopoeic way of sneezing. It's like, yeah, that's
It's like saying
that,
belch
yeah,
when you burp.
yeah, or cough when you
Yeah.
cough. It's
Cough.
But then
yeah.
he started talking about Beth's sneeze. So,
You edit that bit,
Hold
don't you?
on. Have I-
You edit that bit because otherwise we'll tell Jazz everything.
Kate's
about
got that
Kate.
shovel out, ready to bury Jamie this week.
It's alright, Kate. My shovel's behind me as well, mate, so you're alright.
I don't care. I've got Bollinger tails next to me. Fucking bury away. I'm happy.
On that bombshell, let's get on with the heat, shall we? Because
Yeah.
how far in are we now, mate?
We are now almost 10
Ah, well,
minutes
that's good
in,
enough.
and for a second there, I
Ooh.
thought my illness
10
had
minutes of shite.
completely...
Let me quickly thank our listeners though and downloaders because we do appreciate it every week, don't we?
Every week.
Every
Oh, God,
week.
yeah. As you can tell, we really need it.
Yes.
really.
So keep it coming,
Yeah.
keep listening, keep downloading. We appreciate it.
Any comments, any feedback that you want to give us, we also understand that this just is just 5 bobbling heads just ranting on and on and on. Any kind of feedback or constructive criticism, even negative criticism that you want to give us, just let us know what you think. Any ways that we can improve, you know, even if you just want us to stop.
And
Why the hell
Any ladies
not?
Kate hasn't called back or, you know, let us know.
Thanks everybody for all the views on the Bubblegum article as well. And
Oh
the
yeah,
retweets.
that was absolutely fantastic. Well done,
So-
Kurt, for your work on that one, and thank you again, everybody,
Average.
for checking out the website. That's the spirit, Jamie. Way to bury your own crew.
No, it was a fantastic read. I read it twice actually. It was a good read. But the heat then. Let's crack on with the heat. Yeah, let's crack on. Let's start then. Nia Jax.
It's the Heat!
Why am I being silent?
Sound effects.
Oh, God's sake! All right. Can I talk now?
Yes.
Right, boys. Nia Jax, leave of absence.
Yes.
Unhappy, apparently, rumour with creative and her pay.
Yeah. And she wants that Samoan paycheck, doesn't she?
But I don't even think it's that. With a lot of the NXT roster, they are on. They're not earning as much as people like Emma or even Dana Brooks because she got called up first. So if Nia Jax is going there, she's getting used every week in a main spot, but is still one of the lowest earners. Then why not?
Yeah, I mean, you could argue the money is worth the time that she's spending, the fact that she's being used as a part of the women's division so regularly, because she is such a standout in that there is nobody on the main roster like her.
Well, she's doing Total Divas now as well. So
Yeah,
if she's not
that's
getting
it.
more pay, even though she's doing the Total Divas thing.
Oh
then-
wow, I didn't realise that was
Yeah.
that was a factor.
I don't know if she's getting paid for that or not, but potentially a factor. 'Cause
Yeah, that's
I
it.
find it quite cheeky. She's not been on the main roster very long, and already you're expecting more pay.
Well, again,
Yeah.
it depends on a lot of different factors. I mean, again, looking, you know, she's Samoan. Who is she more closely related to?
True. Roman,
I don't even
yeah.
I don't even think it's just that though. It's the case of if these people. So I like Alicia Fox, but she's not done anything creatively good for a long while. Nia Jax is getting used all the time,
I
and
think
if
it's
she's not,
creative to do with Alicia Fox.
Yeah. She is one of my favourite female
her
wrestlers.
character's class, like her segment on this week's Raw,
She goes
was brilliant,
nuts. It's great.
Yeah,
which we'll get into.
Yeah.
But I think with Nia Jax, if she's doing more work than a lot of the female talent, but isn't getting that pay, then fair enough. Like it brings me to the question: is WWE talent underpaid? The fact that the Young Bucks and Cody Rhodes makes 3 times more than what he did when he was in WWE now, and Joey Ryan makes somebody he was in TNA for a while but not that long. He's only really worked the Indies and Lucha Underground. He's earning more money than a lot of the WWE roster, and that's independent talent doing maybe half the dates. So
well, I mean, this could be quite comparable to the 90s and the Monday Night Wars. Vince and the Fed couldn't offer the same amount of money as WCW. They didn't have the checkbook big enough. But what they could do was provide consistent contracts. It was guaranteed pay at a lower rate. WCW, to some degree, it became a per appearance type thing, which isn't uncommon in the business. When you look at NWA, well, I say NWA, Global or Impact.
Whatever they're called.
Yeah,
this week.
whatever. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
that PPA. They've got a guaranteed downside every month. A lot of their roster are under contract.
Yeah, so I can imagine that there are, especially when you're dealing with a gimmick or like a namesake. If you're well known across the industry, you aren't earned like under any kind of performer name or anything like that. Like I understand, obviously with the Dudleys, when they went over to Impact. They couldn't be called Dudleys anymore. They had to be Team 3D because the Fed bought.
Well, Cody
ECW.
Rhodes can't be called Cody Rhodes.
No,
Like-
well, but yeah, that's it. There's all that kind of stuff, but there is a way to manipulate the system in such a way, and obviously there's a lot of people out there that are making such a prolific amount of money and such an important impact below the scenes, and I think it's a very important thing to understand that the Fed isn't the be all and end all.
Yeah.
That just seems
she
to
might
be.
she might earn a lot more money doing a modelling.
Yeah, that's it. And
Because I can't imagine her on the independent scene. Like, are people will pick her up, but are they going to be giving her the money to out earn?
I don't think she'd make as much money on the indies, definitely. Like, she's got a character in WWE which works because she's
unique to WWE.
the only female monster on the roster.
Yeah.
If she's on the indies, like you said, she would get some dates, but I don't think that people would be gagging to get Nia Jax on the show.
Apart from Jamie, who, as we established in our earlier episodes when we met her at NXT, Jamie dribbled out of his bum and had a wet patch on his ass. So Jamie would definitely book her.
Oh, I would, yeah. Booker. You say?
Yeah,
Book.
Yeah.
yeah,
Book.
well,
Yeah.
it's a shame to see somebody upset with their position, with the fact that to a lot of people that maybe feel that they are underutilised, that somebody who is used on a near weekly basis, somebody that has a very clear role in a division, doesn't feel like they're in a comfortable or a competent position financially, which is, again, as I say, it's a shame. But we don't know necessarily, unless we looked it up, how long Nia Jax's contract was run for, whether or not it is in fact up for renewal anytime soon, whether or not they do have any big plans to put the title on her. There's all these different things to take into consideration, because one has to assume, if you do become a champion, if you become a staple of a division, do you get a pay rise? That used to happen for a long time.
Yeah. You would think you would, because you're doing a lot more, aren't you? You've been doing a lot more media appearances.
I don't know if it means as much nowadays.
That's it.
The
So
problem.
so there are a lot of things to take into consideration with this.
Can I ask why our producer's walking around the room and getting sat down?
Let him be, but with Nia, I think she should have been champion a long time ago.
Well, I read the plan was still for her and Alexa.
But it's one of those, with Asuka coming up, I think Nia Jax should have had the belt for a while, been booked as a dominant force that nobody can beat. Asuka comes up to the main roster and Asuka beats her. There's your introduction to the casual fans.
Yeah.
There's been this monster that's destroyed everybody, and Asuka's just ruined her.
Yeah, because at the moment, Nia hasn't really lived up to what she could have done. She
I
hasn't
think it's
been booked.
creative.
I was going to
She
say,
has-
you
well,
can't, is
it's
that her or
always-
is that creative?
No,
It's-
when I say Nia hasn't lived up to, of course I mean creative. She has very little say in what she does.
However, is it her in-ring being quite dangerous with her injuring Bailey? And some have said she can be a bit too reckless with certain moves. Could that, just to play devil's advocate?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that does seem.
I
like
like
a very,
it. I'm a big fan of.
That does seem like a very Samoan kind of.
Trait.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I'm not
that's-
sure Roman Reigns is one of the.
No, but like looking back, back to the 80s, the head shrinkers, the funky Samoans, all of these people like Fatu, like Haku, they're all known for being hard men in the industry. That they take it very seriously. They've got a lot of very devout beliefs, and a lot of it is to do with I'm in character and I will kick 10 shades out of you if I have to.
Yeah.
So you've got to believe. I don't know if anybody has seen the Glow series, the Glow TV, on
Not yet.
Netflix.
Really good.
But there's a lot of kind of
Awesome Kong's brilliant. Isn't it?
yeah. But there's they're Machu Picchu, the character that's based on one of the most popular actual Glow performers. The whole story arc.
A kayfabe brothers Carlito and brothers Claire.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but I feel like there's a lot of resonance there in terms of, oh, well, no, that's what it was like in the 80s, especially if there was somebody in that position. If you were to take Nia Jax and put her in the role of Machu Picchu, this is all I've ever known. My family is wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
I understand how the industry works, but I have to treat this like it's legit. I understand that there is a difference between what goes on behind the cameras, when the cameras are off, and when I'm in front of people. So you've got to believe that there may be an inadvertent kind of backlash with that. She's not deliberately injuring people. It's just she has been raised with a powerful, stiff style of working. So, yeah, but again, we don't know the full details. Maybe something will come out because apparently she's not the only person backstage that's been upset.
I was reading, there's a few people that have...
I've heard that she's definitely bound to return, so it is just a leave of absence. She will return, and most people believe that she will be returning with a higher paycheck, and she will get what she wants.
Which is good, because we don't know how many public stuff she's having to do for WWE. Like, we only see her once a week, twice if there's a pay-per-view and she's on it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's so much work that goes behind that she may still be on that NXT wage and not got a reasonable bump up.
Yeah. Well, as you say, taking that whole Total Divas thing into consideration as well, what that's doing is basically opening up your personal life, a 24/7 look almost, that's been condensed down into a reality show. When you're giving somebody that amount of access into your personal life, what you do behind closed doors, and knowing that there are cameras following you at every single moment of your day, that has to account for something.
Yeah.
Personal intrusion and opening up to a company has to be compensated with finance at some point. So, yeah, maybe it is something as simple as I'm not happy that I'm not being paid enough for my Total Divas, especially when compared to the Bellas, who not only have Total Divas but also have Total Bellas.
True.
But they're a brand. Their brand.
No, and maybe that's the reason why she's upset.
Their brand and stock's bigger than nearly anybody in the roster, regardless of gender.
I know girls who are not into wrestling whatsoever, but
No,
they
you
watch.
don't.
No, don't you chime in all of a sudden, right?
But they'll watch Total Divas.
But they'll watch Total
Bellas.
Divas and Total Bellas just because they're interested in the reality TV storylines that are going
Not
on.
gonna lie, I watch every episode of Total Divas.
It's good.
I
It is
enjoy
good.
it.
I have seen a few episodes.
Fucking hell.
Wow.
I have
He
seen
knows how the network works.
Yes.
He's caught
Have
up with
you
NXT.
seen
Yes, I'm to
Total
the NXT
Bellas?
now.
I have not seen Total Bellas, Dave. No, I
Okay,
haven't.
nor have I, so we are the only men on this podcast, while this lot want to offer hair advice.
No, like, I enjoy it. So there was
Do we
something.
look like we could offer hair advice?
There was something regarding John Cena on it, which was really interesting, and Daniel Bryan tweeted about it, how interested he was. And so when John Cena's when he dies, he wants to be...
Well, they're killing him off.
No, so when he dies, so he's already got his plans for when he dies, how he wants to be buried, and it's in like a pod, which then sprouts up a tree, and it feeds off his body.
Yeah,
It's like giving back
That's
to
quite a common thing.
giving back to the environment, and I
Dave,
thought that was really interesting.
Our producer Dave is wincing, but
I'm pretty sure they used to just put people into the ground and that used to happen. It's nothing fancy.
He gets a tree. And
Dave's thinking very
There's gonna be a tree of
short-sightedly.
John
There's a number of different companies that do provide different types of
Like
things
personally,
at the end.
I want to do the one where you can get your remains sent into space. That's awesome.
It is. It's just a shame that nothing will benefit from that.
I don't want anything to benefit from it. I want...
Some aliens are going to be
Yeah, I mean,
coming
we could
across
get
it.
philosophical about it. And Neil deGrasse Tyson, he posted up a thing about when if I don't want to be cremated, I want to be buried, because then my body goes into the ground. All the organisms and worms in the ground can feast off my body. Sorry, I did this. Yeah, I'm really sorry to all the podcast listeners. I don't mean to make you turn your stomach.
We've gone very morbid now on this.
So you're not having
there's a
breakfast,
lot of
dinner or
different things.
tea.
You can have your remains put into compressed down into a diamond. There's all these different mad things that you can have. So John Cena has obviously looked at all of his different options. The tree one is a very popular one. Imagine a family home. I'm going to be buried at the foot of the garden. I'm still technically living here because the tree is technically me. I think that's the premise of what he's saying.
Yeah.
The
I like
tree is
it.
me.
And imagine if it was like that scene in Poltergeist.
Yes.
Never seen
With
it.
the Indian burial ground.
Yes.
Exactly. The tree becomes possessed like the Whomping Willows from Harry Potter.
Yes.
And decides to clothesline and F5.
John
anybody
Cena's
that
still
comes near
destroying
him.
it.
I've never seen any of these films.
I hope this happens during the Bray Wyatt Finn Balor match.
yeah.
That would be ace.
Well, I'd just like to throw out that when I die, I don't give a shit. I'll be dead. You can stick me in a bin for all I care.
And I'll be
worry,
sure
mate,
to
I'll
do
find
that,
out.
Jamie. If you play your cards right, it'll happen at the end of the
Use me as a
night.
guy forks at bonfire night. I don't mind. I'll be dead. Do what you want.
And that's the end of our funeral procession.
I'm impressed.
Speaking of the end of things, let's speak about the end of Bubba Ray's career.
He's not died.
Nice segue.
He's
but
just
I just want to say I'm impressed we got from Nia Jax to talking about burial and death
Yeah.
very quickly.
Yeah.
Which is morbid.
Yeah. So we'll bury Bubba Ray and we'll move on to the next segment.
Hey, leave Calfzilla alone.
There you go, Calfzilla. What? So why does Bubba Ray have the nickname Calfzilla?
Because his calves are ridiculously
They're
huge.
massive.
Like,
Really?
Yeah.
Like
So-
would they make like Scott Steiner and Lex
yeah,
Oh,
Luger blush?
yeah.
It would make
His-
Scott Steiner's arms blush.
Oh, excellent.
It was a gimmick in TNA.
But it wasn't,
Did he?
It wasn't as much a gimmick. It was so when he came back and started doing the bully thing and was becoming quite a big star.
Yeah.
He got in such good shape.
Oh yeah, I know. Lost a lot of
Yeah,
weight,
and his calves were just ridiculously huge.
Yeah.
And I always remember Austin Aries getting down, went to his calf and was like, "Hey, Calfzilla."
Oh, is this when he was like the little buff? Yeah.
Bagwell.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, but Buff Bagwell, he had implants in his calves.
Oh.
Yeah, so maybe.
I think that
maybe
got
during
brought
the
up
alliance-
the not implants that bully Ray's
Yeah,
got.
I was gonna. Well, maybe during the invasion angle, Bubba Ray stole.
The implants?
No, not the implant. No, not the
Oh.
implants. He stole the calf muscles, and that's why Buff Bagwell has it. Wow, just seen a. Just see a picture of the calves. That's terrifying.
They're insane, aren't
Yeah,
they?
they are. Because there's this whole running joke as well. At Buff Bagwell, he's obviously when he was in the ring, he was in absolutely fantastic shape, but he had calf implants, which is a shame because when you think of somebody, I mean, that does explain why he used to wear tights, instead of wearing short, trunks or anything like that, which is a real shame. But you do have to wonder whether or not Bubba Ray stole the calf muscle. That's why he had to have implants. But Calfzilla. Well, yeah, and we were talking in the group chat about what we're going to talk about as well. Somebody was, is it Calfzilla or is it Quadzilla? I was like, isn't that Kevin Nash? Like Kevin Nash was Quadzilla.
I used to call you Quadzilla.
Really?
When I went to the gym, I called you Quadzilla.
Oh shit, you did?
Yeah.
Wow, that was ages ago. I really need to get my quads back in check. You're stronger than Kevin Nash is.
But no,
Let's
Bully Ray.
let's talk
Bubba
about Bully
retiring.
Ray. Let's talk about Bubba Bully.
Well, it's end of an era, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
So it all came about because of a table spot at Ring of Honor that
Yeah.
didn't go quite as planned.
He took the corner of the table to his head, didn't he?
No,
It just took one concussion too many. It was a shame. I really enjoyed his Ring of Honor work in the 6-man tag with Jay and Mark Briscoe, and it seemed to be leading as if they was going to do Bully Ray vs Jay as a feud, which that would have been fantastic. The fact that Briscoes aren't in WWE are ridiculous.
Well,
They've been one of the.
Would you trust them with their track record on social media?
well, that's it.
That's probably why they're keeping away from him.
Yeah.
That's it.
I think it was Jay who said, I wouldn't have my daughter marrying any homosexuals.
Oh god.
Yeah. If they came and told me they were gay, I'd have a problem with it.
Yeah,
You can't
Which is
imagine-
also like, I mean, not only is that like a very kind of old-fashioned way of looking at things, but if his daughter is getting married to a homo, that has all kinds of logistical things wrong with it. Like,
no,
why?
so in other words, his daughter would be a lesbian.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
She's not marrying a gay.
Right, that's the thing.
I
Yeah.
really love this podcast tonight so far.
Yeah, that's.
How did I have to explain that?
So because then that lays all the blame on the opposite party and not on his daughter.
I say it was Jay, it may have been Mark, and he may have said son and not daughter. There's two variables there.
Right.
I know it was one of the Briscoes
Okay.
and it was one of his children.
Okay.
Guys, listeners, I would like to apologise for the chaos on this podcast. This is what happens when you feed younger people a little bottle of lager.
Oh, by the way, happy belated birthday, Dave.
Oh, thank you.
42
thank you.
listeners,
Yes.
42.
Yeah.
Well, no.
He
First
took-
of
he
all,
took a day
He
over-
almost slipped there, he almost told us.
He doesn't look a day over 55.
He doesn't.
Can you believe it?
first
I
of
thought
all,
it was 43.
can we just stop
42.
at the happy birthday thing? Because that's as far as we need to go.
Should we do 42
Secondly,
with the parade?
fuck off with your 42. I'm not fucking 42.
No, it's 55.
Yeah, you're older, younger.
You are 42.
I'm younger than 42.
If you're
Not
younger
that
than
much.
42, then you're 41.
Well, which is still younger than 42.
We know you're older than John Cena.
Is
Fucking hell. That's
so
all.
on the subject to return us to Bubba
So
Ray, who
you're,
is
you're older than Brock Lesnar.
while you lot are trying to move on from the 26-year career of Bubba Ray Dudley, what Hall of Fame next year?
Well, Devon works there now, WWE, so...
Yeah, the Dudleys into the Hall of Fame. That'd make him in 2 Hall of Fame.
Yep, but then so
The
is
TNA Hall of
Do we
Fame.
really
which-
class the
yeah.
TNA Hall of Fame as a Hall of Fame?
Oh,
well,
God, how many
for
people?
for TNA then, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I don't class it as much, but you know.
Don't discredit the work.
I
Some
will.
people discredit the work, but Kurt Angle spent longer in TNA than he did WWE.
Yeah, but still,
That's
you-
true.
I
That
just
is
don't think
true.
they've been around long enough to have a Hall of Fame.
Anywhere can do a Hall of Fame. It's
Alright,
their-
it's just my opinion, calm down.
No, it's their Hall of Fame. It ain't the Hall
Well,
of Fame
with
of
him
wrestling.
retiring, I feel
Okay.
it's fair that we consider him for the One Fall Pod
Hall of Fame.
Oh
yes.
my god.
No, sorry, Miz is the first
Living
person
in the Hall of
no.
Fame.
Miz is going to be the first person into our Hall
So
of
we
Fame.
have to
The
hold
one-
We have to
off,
wait till the
even
Miz retires.
posthumously.
Oh no, he didn't have to retire. He's going in it.
The one Hall of Fame. Is that
Yeah.
what we're doing?
Oh,
One
one
Hall of
hall. Oh, look at that. That's clever.
I think this is
Right.
good, we get this on the website.
And what we'll do is appreciate the Miz.
We do appreciate the Miz.
I appreciate them being masturbate over.
I'd like
That
that.
too.
We should have a one Hall of Fame on the website.
And
Put Bubba Ray in it.
first entry is Bubba Ray Dudley.
Yes.
I thought we established it's going to be the Miz.
Tweet
Well,
him that
he's
as
in
well.
as well, but
He's
still
always
active.
got a
The Miz,
seat warm.
the Miz is like Andre.
Right.
We're creating this Hall of Fame, you know, in honour of, you know.
Yeah,
wow, this is historic.
yeah, that's it. It's.
I expect to see this on the website and I will look.
Shall we?
You know the
go
address.
Okay,
podcast.
But
Go to
if we're going to do this, then write a piece on that person as well.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, and that's completely fair enough. So,
Yeah, you're the writer here.
I am writing the
Wait.
piece on. I'm already working on a few
Do you want to write a
projects
Bubba
coming
Ray
up.
piece, Dave?
No.
One of us will write a piece.
Somebody,
Yes.
at least somebody, tag Bubba Ray Dudley on Twitter and let him know, because I'm sure he'd like to appear on one of the podcasts and do his introduction speech.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think
I
we should
remember-
definitely tweet him.
I remember, I remember the first time me and Jamie got to see him wrestle, and it was at PCW against T-Bone and Rampage Brown when they was in the team single, and it was a tables match. That was fucking brutal. I remember seeing Rampage the next day with a massive bruise where Bubba started going into business and started.
Him and Bubba went stiff on each other, didn't they?
Yeah, it
I
was,
can imagine
Oh,
that was
yeah.
a
because
right
because
trade
Rampage,
as
yeah,
well.
because
I'll tell you
Rampage is
what.
big. Bubba stiffed him.
Bubba's over towers
Oh
yeah.
God,
Towers
yeah.
But then
God,
Rampage
yeah.
is like, I letting him come over here and stiff me. I'll stiff you back. I don't care who you are.
And no, and that's it. And I bet you afterwards.
It was a great
There were
match.
yeah, backstage, I bet they had fucking ice packs on with a beer, laughing.
Yeah.
Probably laughing with each other, just like that
Probably.
was a laugh, wasn't it? Fucking hell, that hurt. But that was a right laugh. I bet fucking Rampage Brown earned his respect that night.
Oh yeah, will have done. Is so is Bubba officially going into our one Hall of Fame,
He is. He's
which we have just come up with tonight?
the first entry into the one Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Bubba Ray Dudley.
Well deserved for an outstanding career.
Cool. That's
So
it.
we have to go silent again then.
Right, how about when we say we're going silent, you don't ask, can I go silent?
But we have a
that is
reason to go silent then.
Don't bring it up with me, alright?
But that's-
just let's
There
not
was
make
not
it
a
into
sound
thing.
effect for a Hall of Fame. We just made
I was
up.
going to put one in, okay? A nice little
Right.
sound effect.
But you could have told me that beforehand.
How can I tell you, Jamie?
Alright.
We didn't even know there was a Hall of Fame before the show.
Fine. I know now.
Jesus Christ, right. Well done, Bubba Ray Dudley.
A wonderful career.
A wonderful career.
Wonderful career. Hall of Fame next year, hopefully.
Hopefully.
But it's got the important Hall of Fame, not
It's
this
got the
tonight.
one that matters.
Yeah.
The one fall.
The
one
one
hall.
The one
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Now, I've noticed on our board that Dave has wrote Shawn Michaels returns.
Yep. So obviously it was announced between Drew McIntyre and Adam Cole for the NXT Championship at Takeover
Takeover
San
War
Antonio.
Games.
Yeah, War Games.
I
No,
don't
it
think
will
it
be,
was.
Obviously.
it will be War Games.
No, because it's
November,
McIntyre and Almas, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's November.
November 17th.
It's just a special. It's just a house show, isn't it? Because it's in San Antonio. They've got
San
Michaels as a
Antonio.
special rep.
Yeah.
That's all.
NXT Takeover
Well, what's it? Is it not going to
Starcade.
be on
I
the?
think it's
No,
a,
Takeover's McIntyre Almas.
I
Yeah,
think it's a live event.
it's not going to be on the network.
Go
No.
on, kick off like I'd be Starcade. Go
That's
on.
a shittest start.
There we go.
Yeah.
Get in.
I genuinely thought Shawn like
No, it's just a house show.
that's fucking shite.
There we go.
Yeah.
Why would you have Shawn Michaels do
Because
It's in San Antonio.
I don't give a
It's
fuck.
just to
Put it as a
please-
live
It's for
special.
the crowd, and it's to please the crowd. It's
Is
his
this
hometown.
what
Please,
is-
the network. Right, I'm sorry, but the network could do with more subscribers, and for people to see Shawn Michaels involved in a match, whether it's special guest referee or not, people would tune in.
Well, you message Vince and Triple
Vince?
H and
What the fuck are you doing?
have a word.
Well, it's Triple H, isn't it? But
Triple
Yeah.
H.
oh,
I,
I genuinely thought it was going to be on the network.
No, as far as
No.
I know, it's not on the network.
Yeah.
So-
That's bullshit.
To go with the announcement, Adam Cole, baby, I'm led to believe that's what he says,
Supposed to do it
and
properly.
the undisputed ERA, to give them their proper name.
Error.
Well, it's capital letters. You don't say have vowed to shock the system of next, do you? No, you say NXT. So they're going to be the undisputed ERA from now on.
Error.
And the Unlawful Collective, who sound like a great band, will get a chance to do just that when Cole challenges NXT champion Drew McIntyre for the title at NXT Live in San Antonio on Friday, November the 17th, the day before NXT TakeOver War Games. I'm going to predict
Right.
here that the belt will change hands.
By Shenanigans,
when-
Michael will
so
appear.
San Antonio-
And he's the referee.
Yeah.
Wait. So I've just seen something on Twitter.
Oh.
So San Antonio, when is it? Friday
The
17th.
17th, Saturday the 17th or Friday. Whenever
Friday-
the 17th.
Friday the
So
17th.
so the reason being, I've just seen Matt Jackson tweet, San Antonio, we're coming. Tickets available at Ring of Honor Wrestling. Picture of them. Friday, November 17th, Bullet Club invade San Antonio, Ring of Honor.
Ah,
That explains a
there we go.
lot.
wow.
Yeah, now if they want to take this long haul, I mean, there's no reason why Shawn Michaels can't involved in Triple H's little baby. It'd be nice to see
He's
something.
working backstage, isn't he?
Could it,
He's-
yeah, 'cause he's a trainer.
He's
at
a
NXT,
trainer,
Yeah,
but
so it'd be
could
nice
it
to
be
see
a-
something happen at the house show. Maybe that spills into Takeover the next night.
Yeah.
That'd be nice to see. It'd be nice to see Shawn Michaels in some kind of dramatic
Absolutely.
role, like in the Hell in a Cell
Yes.
match. Like,
That's what
that he
I
had
was
at
thinking, so
WrestleMania.
why not on... But yeah, so it makes sense why...
Steal all
There's-
of the
there's a-
attention
there's a-
from Ring of Honor
there's a-
after
Yeah.
everything that's happened with that
There's a,
cease and desist.
and there's a
Wow.
super kick party coming to Ring of Honor, so
Yeah.
they get the man that made super kick what it is
There
for
you
Shawn
go.
Michaels.
Do you know what? That is... It's dastardly and it's dirty and it's
There's
everything.
a war brewing, isn't there? I like
It's
this. There's a
everything.
war brewing.
That's it. Well, War Games coming up.
I love
Ooh,
this.
A
I
Friday
love
Night
this.
Wars. Woo! I love it.
With everything that's been going on with the books and that, I've done it so whenever they tweet, it comes through to my phone, and it was literally so that came through as we're talking about this, and I was like, no way.
Yeah,
Like,
that's it.
No, I just-
talk
I
about
would
journalism.
just, I would just sign.
You're Hanson.
I would just
Thank
sign
you.
the whole
Thank
of
you
the
very
Bullet
much.
Club. I have it as an invasion angle on NXT. Just sign the whole of the Bullet Club.
do you know
I
why
would
they
bring them in.
can't? Because they
Pay them nothing.
Yeah.
Ironclad 10-year contract to pay them nothing.
They've tried. They tried to sign Kenny Omega. He didn't want to
They won't
resign
sign.
with New Japan.
Yeah, no, I'm just hypothetically. I'm just saying it'd be a good idea. For
Yeah,
them. I know they're not
they
gonna-
won't.
But how?
Right.
How many fucking sweets are you eating tonight?
I think Omega will.
Callum, too sweet.
Yeah.
McInnes.
Nah, that's about 4
What?
sweets.
I'm sorry, you're right. I'm sorry, Callum, 1 sweet. McInnes.
Why can't I have a sweet?
Or maybe Callum, too many sweets. McInnes.
Why can't I have a sweet?
We should be the 1 sweet podcast.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to avoid a cease and desist from McMahon.
Sorry.
That's all.
Thanks.
Right, so we've gone quiet because Jamie's been nagging to Callum to get a sweetie.
Yeah. Well, you never offered any of yours out, did you?
No,
After he just said,
the chocolate
how many
buttons.
fucking sweets are you eating tonight? Cheeky bastard.
Nice shot.
Cut it.
But yeah, so
Leave it all in.
so back to your why don't the sign, like Kenny Omega.
Yeah, I know about the
and
whole
Young
sign. I'm
Bucks.
just saying.
Don't-
What
I
I'd
think
like to
Omega
see.
will be there after his contract runs out next year. I think it runs out just after Wrestle Kingdom. Wouldn't surprise me if they were like, right, here's the contract we're going to offer you. You're
Yeah.
going to be one of the highest paid.
That's it. We'll
When
offer you
you-
loads of
when you
money.
get
You can be the janitor.
Plus, they've been,
Kenny Omega.
they've been teasing for a while. They've been.
He just works backstage. That's it. You get to dress like Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt
get
family.
to keep my cleaner gimmick.
He'll do-
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he has to do it. Yeah.
Here's a broom.
What he doesn't know, he'll have to do Tyler Breeze where he comes out as the janitor mopping up.
Exactly.
But nah, it wouldn't surprise me if, because they've been doing like teases where there could be animosity between Cody and Kenny on like being the elite, and I wonder if that's to go down the route of Kenny Omega to finally leave the Bullet Club, Cody be that guy to run with it, and Kenny goes to WWE.
Well, let's face it. If Kenny goes, the Bucks are going too.
I don't think they will.
They've said they will, and I don't think the Bucks will
But
get back on the way.
I think their contracts are different.
Yeah.
They are different,
yeah.
but he'll stick about for the Bucks and vice versa. I don't think they'll come if they're not a package.
It'd be nice. It'd be nice to think that there was that amount of loyalty between the club because of everything that they've been through, because of the years that they've spent. Just kind of travelling around. Obviously, they've done a lot of work together. They've built up a really strong friendship. But you've also got to take into account the fact that this being the elite, is this not technically reality TV? Is this not the Bullet Club's own personal version?
It's
of
very real. It's a reflection of.
It's a reflection of who they are, but they put stories into it.
Yeah, I'm not denying, and
So
I've
like
seen,
Adam
and I've
Cole being
seen,
dead and his
yeah,
ghost
that's
coming
it.
back.
I've seen segments where they take the piss and all that kind of stuff. But you have to think as well, like if Kenny leaves, the Fed might only be there, like willing to give a contract to Omega because
Of all
after
the shit
everything
that's happened with the Bucks.
with the cease and desist, like they want to keep them at arm's length for a long time. Like they can keep knocking at the door, like asking to come in. Like, oh, I want to be with my mate Kenny.
Nah, it'll be a kid.
Yeah.
Once the Young Bucks out of contract, and if they say to WWE, right, we're ready to come over, then WWE will snap their hands
They
up.
would,
Because
there's nothing better than owning your enemy.
Oh
Yeah.
God, yeah. If there's anything that Vince has proven,
WCW,
Yeah.
come on.
yeah, that's it. That's exactly it. But
Nah, so-
Vince is a very old-fashioned businessman. He's a very he knows how to hold a grudge for a long time. So we'll have to see how things develop.
I think it'd be Triple H to bring him in, wouldn't it?
It can't be a coincidence though with Shawn Michaels being a referee. Because
Yeah, like almost like
Ring
they
of Honor are
they
there.
found out that Ring of Honor were going to try and do something like that.
look at WrestleCade. WrestleCade. WWE was going to be doing a live event the same day as WrestleCade, so let's bring back Starcade.
Yeah.
Which isn't on the network.
So
as well.
Vince is going back to destroying the business.
Yeah.
But
That's it.
no,
Yeah.
so Shawn Michaels returns. It's shit that it's not all special, but now we know why.
So, Polcast.
It's the Polcast!
Okay,
Do you want to thank him again? Because we might as well.
thank him. PW Polls.
That's the ones, yeah.
Yeah, so
They haven't retweeted it. They've not retweeted this one.
alright, well I'll edit that out, shall I?
No, thank him.
Sorry. So thanks to PW Polls again for retweeting our previous polls. Gets us a lot of interaction, really good. This week we asked about who do you think would benefit from leaving the WWE and trying their luck outside? The options were Primo and Epico, Zack Ryder, Rusev and Dolph Ziggler. So, guys, which one do you think would benefit the most?
I'll kick things off. Like, I was torn with Rusev and Ziggler because I think they'll both do different things. Like, both of them could walk into any company in the world and shine massively. So, like, Ziggler could easily do what Cody Rhodes has done with Ring of Honor, or he might decide to go down the Impact route since they're finally, hopefully, starting to find their feet again. What we'll get into later is NWA going to be about. So, yeah, I voted for Ziggler personally. I think Rusev's still got a lot more to offer WWE. Ziggler's been over. I don't know.
Personally, if I had to choose, I would want Rusev to leave. But who do I think has the most potential on the Indies and even New Japan, anywhere? It would be Dolph Ziggler. He's at the twilight of his career now. He's maybe only got one shot left. Maybe this is what he needs. Maybe he needs to leave, go and prove his worth elsewhere.
Drew McIntyre,
exactly. And come back. He needs to do what Cody's doing.
Yeah.
Even though I think that's a separate example. I just think Dolph would benefit the most.
I think Rusev's time will come in WWE still.
And that's why I went with Ziggler. I think Ziggler won't get a better push than what he's getting now.
No.
Not no more. He's been up and down, one too many times, and he needs to go. Whereas Rusev, I believe, he's still got that potential of if WWE,
he's only young, isn't he?
If WWE are like, right, we're going to pull the plug.
Or Dave, or
he looks rough.
Yeah, Producer Dave is.
He's had
Dolph Ziggler.
one too many beer deluxe.
I definitely haven't.
Are you okay, Dave?
Yeah. I thought you meant Dolph Ziggler.
No,
not rough.
I'm not. I'm going to shock you all here. I didn't vote on the poll.
Oh no!
What?
Mind you, I didn't either. I don't know these polls.
I do it over my Judy and Coke, but it's in a.
Should we get a sound effect for Jamie doesn't chip in again?
Yeah.
But I would.
Jamie doesn't chip in again.
I would have voted for Ziggler as well. Pretty much for the same reasons you just said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll vote next week.
Cheers.
I have conflicting feelings because I feel like Rusev and Ziggler, if they left, they would be on an equal par in terms of drawing power, but their strengths lie in different kind of positions. Rusev is a big guy. He could be a monster on the Indies.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be great in the G1.
Oh God, he would tear through people.
Rusev vs Ishii.
Rusev in the Super Strong Style tournament.
There's a wrestler called He, She, He.
Tomohiro Ishii.
I'll leave it to you to decide whether or not that should be cut or left in.
Dave.
Have you never heard of him?
I think he's trolling the
Is he okay?
I think
There's a wrestler called He, She, He.
It's Ishii.
Ishii.
Anyway, carry on, James.
Carry on with this podcast.
Ziggler.
I think Dave needs a break.
Yeah, Ziggler is more like Cody Rhodes in that he's a well-rounded, technical in-ring performer. He's got the chops to back it up, but he's good on the mic.
I think Ziggler would edge Rusev because of his charismatic draw.
And well, that's the thing, but that's not to disregard Ryder and the Colognes. Obviously, the Colognes, much like Nia Jax in the Samoan families, like the Colognes, two brothers from the Cologne family of Puerto Rico. So Carlito's dad, they've been a big part of South American wrestling.
I'm just laughing about Carlito when Carlito's dad got inducted on the Hall of Fame, and I can't remember who came before him, but it was such a good induction. So Carlito goes on, he's like, "Yep, typical WWE. How to follow that and calm down the fans." Send in the Colognes.
Oh my God!
And I just thought,
absolutely amazing. That's Carlito down to a T, though, isn't it?
I just
he
thought,
doesn't give a fuck.
He's just throwing shade at the Colognes.
Yeah, he gets it. He knows. I'm pretty sure as well. Like the valets that came out, he was just eyeing up the valets, just up and down. Yeah. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna top that tonight.
And I know I've buried Carlito a little bit with regarding 5-star wrestling. like just promoting Khalid and that he shouldn't be the main focus on a UK show. But when they was doing this Superstar Shake-Up, I always wanted Khalid to return and do the Colognes Khalid Primo and Epico.
Yeah, like and
that'd be brilliant in Impact.
Exactly.
Left.
This is the thing. Like the Colognes, you can't disregard how competent that they are as a tag team. The Hardys are blood brothers. They have trained together every day for years and years and years. It's the same thing with the Colognes. They've got incredible chemistry together, and it's just a real shame that chemistry isn't translating to Raw and SmackDown.
Watching those two guys work is like watching Los Guerreros wrestle.
Yes.
They have that same chemistry.
Yes.
They just flow.
This is exactly the thing. It's the same thing. I've seen
like
a lot
those
of
Los
people.
Matadores.
I've seen a lot of people.
The Conquistadors.
Yeah, if you like, if you really want to go there.
Yeah.
If we were to make a comparison with the Colognes, I would have said it feels like everybody knows that Chavo Guerrero in ring is incredible, but the Fed seemed to just take the wind out of him. And he had a couple of insane, true luchador style matches with Rey Mysterio and his brother Eddie on SmackDown during the SmackDown 6 era. The Colognes feel like that. They feel like they're there, they've got all the potential in the world to just sweep everybody off their feet.
The way they're going to go with it.
Not given the chance.
The way they're going to go with it.
And it just saddens me. And when we look at Zack Ryder, they gave him the title at WrestleMania. He won the ladder match, only to lose it the next day.
To The Miz.
Yep, which makes sense because The Miz is awesome and let's appreciate The Miz again.
All right,
but I think
Zack Ryder, he is a powerful mid-card gimmick. And again, that's not to turn things into a tertiary thing, but Zack Ryder, he can get people behind him. He was successful purely off of his own back on the internet with his vlogs and his YouTube videos and stuff like years ago. He can draw a crowd, he can be sympathetic, he can be that Sami Zayn, but more believable. So why would you suppress that when you turn to your actual Sami Zayn and go, oh no, we need to do a whole bait and switch and turn him heel?
Yeah, it seems
can
so
you imagine,
counterproductive.
but I can buy into Sami Zayn turning heel to join sides with Kevin Owens. I can't buy into Zack Ryder turning heel. Who's he going to align himself with? There's no one else like him.
Kurt Hawkins.
Apart from Kurt Hawkins, who has no momentum.
Literally, momentum is zero.
Actually, even though he's been losing, his momentum, his stock's more. I don't know.
Well, that's it. He's getting TV time. He's getting mic time.
I find it so entertaining.
I'm talking strictly kayfabe.
Yeah. I mean,
So
we don't know where things are going with Zach, with the hype bros. They keep seeming to tease dissension.
Maybe they'll both turn.
Yeah, it seems like they might be both turning heel.
That would be an interesting thing, to be honest. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time that happened.
I can imagine Mojo might be a dick.
The bar became the bar because they couldn't take the fact that the Hardys kept winning.
I don't know. I reckon he'd be one where he's really fun to be around and stuff like that. But if you piss him off and he doesn't like
you said, I met him after Mania.
Yeah.
It was after Mania. Just we've gone to this bar and he was no different to his gimmick.
Yeah,
he was the only one partying.
Yeah, I saw a Snapchat of somebody that I know, and she was like partying with them all after the UK tour.
He bought us a shot of rum.
Yeah, but I reckon if you
what a guy.
He was walking around with this bottle of rum, just pouring it in our mouths.
He goes wild for parties.
Yeah, and he was no different.
Well, he's a.
Well, did you see him on Breaking Ground? Where he got told he was getting called up, and then he throws a parties and he just goes to the cameras. It's your time to leave because you're not allowed to record this.
So Mojo Rawley gets it, and you gotta hope that there can still be something to salvage from Zack Ryder. But Rusev and Ziggler, again, like what has already been said, Rusev, he still has a couple of years in the Fed to see if they can do something with him. With Ziggler, for me, outside of the initial cash-in with Edge of the Money in the Bank and with Seth Rollins cashing in at WrestleMania, the best cash-in ever was Ziggler on Alberto Del Rio on Raw. The biggest pop for a cash-in, the biggest just... you've got the sympathetic babyface taking down the oh my god, I watched that. When I feel sad,
spoiled on it.
When I feel sad,
He's not my friend anymore.
I watched that cash in and it genuinely brings a tear to my eye. Dolph Ziggler makes me sad because of how good he is, yet isn't utilised.
Yeah.
The fact that in the past year he has been in contention for the WWE title on SmackDown and wasn't taken seriously. It's because he's become a joke. He has to move away from the Fed. When they teased him leaving in that retirement match against The Miz for the IC title,
That was fucking.
I'd have
I
been
was
fine with it
happy.
going.
I was happy either way.
Yeah.
Because to me, it felt like, that's it. He gets to step away. He gets the chance to spend a year or two away in the Indies, raising that stock.
Yeah.
And you've got to believe he's going to be raising that stock. The guy can go.
Can we read the results out? Because I think Dave needs a break.
He's okay. He's
Yeah,
alright.
I
I mean,
I've
I was going to get to the results
We've had
anyway.
15 minutes on
James
this
was just ranting
podcast.
for about
Let's have
10
a
minutes
look.
without any of us.
Alright,
So,
let's
the
skip ahead.
And a very good
Results.
point made, by the way, James.
The
Yeah, very good
results
point.
on the
Well, Callum
on
will
the
read the results.
podcast were
Callum's going to read them.
I'm going to read
He's
them.
got them.
okay.
So
And they
Primo
were?
and Epico with 6%.
One vote, bless them.
Zack Ryder with 17%. Rusev with 33%. And not surprising, Dolph Ziggler with 44%. So do you think that seems about right, guys?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah, I think, like, going back to the Colognes, I just think they're very underrated. Because you were saying, like, there could be, like, a bit like what the Usos have been like, or the Bar. They was going to do that on SmackDown Live. They turned heel and was having some good matches. And then, I believe, either Primo or Epico got injured. So that's what's took them off TV. And there was the rumour that they're going to be leaving and...
Yeah, I read something that asked for the
Yeah.
release,
But-
didn't they? Something.
Yeah.
But the reason why they was off TV is one of them was injured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they are good in-ring workers, but I have no reason to be interested in them. Because
So then
Yeah.
you turn them heel like you have with the Usos. 'cause
And
I
that's,
think
the
they've got
and that's
that.
the thing as well. They've had so many gimmick changes in so short a time. There were Los Matadores, there were the Colognes, there were
we're the travel agents on Raw as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it.
That was shit.
yeah,
that was
that's
so
it.
annoying.
It just
So I guess they was good at the job. But
yeah,
it's
and
shite.
that's another thing as well. When you compare them physically to the other tag teams, you've got bigger guys like the Bar, and the Usos. You've got the at the time there were the Lucha Dragons that have got like a very clear gimmick. How can you make the Colognes act like Lucha if they're not wearing Lucha masks? It's almost like I feel like Vince doesn't get the fact that you can be Lucha but still not have to wear a mask. Like just because you're not Rey Mysterio doesn't mean that you can't do Lucha stuff.
Yeah. I
You know,
agree.
Chavo Guerrero is a classic example of that. So yeah, it is a real shame, and I really just hope that all of these guys do better
Yeah.
Yeah.
soon. Please.
At the end of the day, that's what we want for everybody, isn't
Yeah.
it? Like, we want everyone to get a fair break, even if we're not really fans of him.
It's a bit of fun then. If all four was to leave, but they had to go to separate companies, who would go where?
Colognes, Lucha Underground.
Yeah, fair shout.
Great shout.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Ziggler go to New Japan.
But
God,
that'd mean
yes.
Rusev can't.
I could see Ziggler going
Shit.
to Ring of Honor, actually.
Yes. Oh. Snap.
And then
Well,
Zack,
Rusev to
then-
New Japan.
yeah, and then
Rusev to
Zack
New Japan.
Ryder
Rusev
to
to
Impact.
Japan, yeah, like fighting, working his way through the G1.
Yeah.
But
So-
if Ryder went to Impact, it'd have been a shame that Robbie East departed because they did the bromance with Jesse Goddard.
Yeah.
If you put
yeah.
Zack Ryder with them three as a trio, it'd be fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
They'd be so entertaining.
We've just
Discussed it.
put their
Discussed it.
futures.
So
I like it.
are we going to think of a podcast for next
We-
week?
we
or
did have- we
do
did
you have
have-
some
no,
ideas? Or?
We did have a second one, didn't we?
Yeah.
We've already discussed that previously. So, on the flip side, we've already discussed people leaving. We was going to say, who do you think currently on the Indies? Okay, we discussed this, didn't we?
Yeah.
But we made it clear that it's not New Japan or Ring of Honor.
Or Impact Wrestling because they've got contracts.
They've got
Yeah.
contracts.
We don't
yeah.
know what the hell's happening with Lucha Underground, so was including them. So for our poll that will be coming up, we've got
Vampiro.
The commentator.
so at number one, we're still undecided on the number one spot, but it'll be either Mark Haskins or Jimmy Havoc to represent the UK. Number two, Joey Ryan, as we
Yes.
mentioned earlier.
My soulmate.
He's making a lot of money, and he'd be brilliant. Number three, even though he's got his contract with WWN, we know they've got some sort of affiliation with WWE, so it's Matt Riddle.
Mm-hmm.
And number four, we was going to go with Phoenix, but we decided with Pentagon Jr.
Yes.
Ah.
Phoenix.
Yeah, but Pentagon Junior is just fucking boss.
So yeah, keep an eye out on Twitter. You'll find the podcast coming up soon. So
I will vote on that one.
Yeah.
good. Thank
Joey
you.
Ryan all day long. I
Well,
love him.
That's it. It's good to know your opinion, Jamie. You guys, you listeners,
It's going to be hard to vote.
let us
because-
know. It is again,
Yeah.
as you said, Kurt, it's going to be hard to pick. A lot of these guys are very clear
They're all,
contenders.
but they're all 4 different ones in the top of each
Yeah.
like category they represent that I thought of. So
And
At One
that's the
Fall
thing.
Pod for people who want to
go
vote.
on, Jamie.
They
Go on,
they
mate.
I know
all
my
de-
stuff.
They all deserve a contract, but who do you think deserves a contract the most? Who do you think needs to be locked in somewhere, get more TV time?
I'd say Matt Riddle so he can face Brock Lesnar.
Well, I guess that's your opinion, Kate, but we'll find out next week on One Fall Pod.
Yeah, I'll see what the results
And
are.
on that, we're going to go and have a 5-minute break.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Do you want to plug anything before I go for a break?
No, we'll plug it in the break.
Right.
Leave it to our
We'll
sponsors.
see you in 5.
Enjoy the show? Why not follow us on Twitter at OneFallPod and join in the discussion? Also, you can support us on Patreon at www.patreon.com/OneFallPod.
Welcome back to One Fall Podcast. We've had our break, our nicotine rush. We're all a bit cold.
Don't smoke. Let's just get that out
Yeah,
there.
try.
Yeah.
I wish I didn't. And let's crack straight into our Raw and Smackdown fallout, and then our TLC predictions.
Yep.
Well, let's start with Raw.
I was saying on Twitter the other day, it seems like every podcast we're making our predictions for another pay-per-view.
They're coming around very
So
quickly, aren't they?
fucking many,
So
aren't
many.
they? I can't wait for this one to be over. So we've actually got like 4 or 5 weeks to calm down until Survivor Series.
Yeah, tell me
Do
about
you,
it.
do you want to do them now or do Raw Smackdown first?
No,
Raw
do Raw
Smackdown,
Yeah.
because obviously some things will be discussed.
Yeah,
and
they're indicative.
Get some-
of the,
Well, we don't have to talk about the whole of Raw, do we? Let's just break it down what we thought was
I,
news.
I,
Usually
I
just-
tweet out on the One Fall Twitter that I thought this episode, in terms of TV, was brilliantly written. It had continuity throughout, like the amount of different segments regarding the Shield or the bar at Miz and Friends, like Braun and stuff. It was just consistently throughout the show, like telling that story. And I thought the whole thing from Alicia Fox and Sasha Banks stuff. I thought the show was perfectly written as a go-home show.
It was a good show. It
And I
wasn't
think
a
the
bad Raw.
go-home show would be better than what TLC will actually be.
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Yeah, he built up the main matches perfectly.
Yeah.
Everything was really good. Like, I'm invested in the Shield's return. I wasn't at first.
I just
I-
thought it was, I thought it was brilliant.
I'm not as hyped as for the Shield return as most people, just because it seems a little forced, and I still feel like it's a bit early for the Shield to come back.
and all of a sudden be friends and stuff. Yeah.
And I said this a few years ago, when the Shield finally come back and the Shield's theme plays, they won't get as big of a pop because people have heard Roman Reigns' theme for those 3 years. So
but it's that little bits before the.
Sierra Hotel Indigo.
However, it seemed like the botched that during the Kurt Angle entrance, like during the Kurt Angle promo, because it came on whilst he was speaking. And it was quite
Yeah, I
quiet.
noticed that, yeah.
And I thought, oh, if that happened when Angle stopped talking, it'd have been
Perfect.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'd have been so good. And I like how Dean Ambrose is no longer boring.
A lot of people have said that, and
It's like he needs to be in the Shield.
I don't think he does.
No, I don't think he
But
does. A lot
The Shield's an edgy, we'll just beat you up, we'll do this, we'll do that.
I think this is an indictment of the way that WWE creative write, because I remember when the Shield broke up, everybody said, "Oh, Rollins, he's the guy that's left. He's the guy that's now the under the tutelage of Triple H. You've got Dean Ambrose, who was the direct ally. I mean, obviously they were all a tag team, but he was the mouthpiece of the Shield. And then it was Roman Reigns who was the black sheep. He was the one that was like, oh well, what the fuck's he gonna do? And they've spent the entire time since the Shield has broken up putting all of their energy into Roman Reigns to build him up.
That's weird because to me it was like I said with Rollins, I agree with that completely. Dean Ambrose was the one who I worried about.
Yeah, I thought Reigns
it's-
was a standout.
Yeah,
Really?
I thought Reigns was the golden boy, the next John Cena, and that's how it's gone. But to me, if I had it my own words, Ambrose would be a staple on SmackDown. he'd have been shipped to SmackDown, left on SmackDown, which is what happened, but I'd have kept him there.
Yeah, I'd have kept
His WWE title run was just...
I enjoyed it. I loved the Kingpin Dean Ambrose when he'd come out. Not really say much, but his in-ring work was really good during that period.
But then he started using every same sequence in every same match, and it's like, fucking hell, like, change it up a little bit, pal.
But that's true of so many wrestlers that they use the same sequence in in all of their matches. Surely, the reason why the Shield are going to be better is instead of WWE Creative sharing their brain cell among on 3 different wrestlers, they're now just going to be writing for
a collective.
one.
Yeah.
The Shield. So that's less strain on their little brains when they have to put together the 6 hours of TV that they have to put together.
Nice
That is
point.
an absolutely rock solid point.
Yeah, I don't even think there's anything else to say on the Shield.
How about
I think
no. So, did anybody expect Kane to come back?
I think he's skipping ahead a bit there.
Well, that's it.
Well, not really.
Is this what?
I
what's
thought
Kane
because
coming back
obviously
for?
it was always teased that it was going to be Curtis Axel, and I think no, but I think
No, yeah.
It was teased,
it was teased,
right, yeah.
and it was because it was going to be in Axel's hometown, and there was his backstage segments where it's like, I want to beat up Roman Reigns, and Braun's just like, then do it.
Go find him.
Go
Go find him.
And then Miz comes and he's like, where's Axel? He's like, and Braun's just like, he said he wanted to beat up Roman Reigns, so I told him to do it. And then Miz was like, I can see why he's come to go do it.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of people on Twitter bring up a really good point. There's not many people that have got a signature match anymore. It seems like a very old-fashioned thing, but a lot of people have said that Braun Strowman seems so comfortable in a steel cage, and that they feel that a steel cage match should be Braun Strowman's signature.
I like the idea.
I like that.
Big,
Well, he threw fucking
imposing...
Big Show through the cage.
Exactly,
Yeah.
a big, imposing powerhouse like that. And it's like, where can you run? You have to face, like the giant. You have to. It's the David and Goliath thing, but in a restrictive.
Is he
environment.
undefeated in cage matches?
I don't know off the record.
Probably.
But he's
I think he
more
is.
than He's more than.
It's the new Undertaker
Covering.
streak. Or tag him with one member of the Shield, and you could have Strowman Reigns.
We've said that before on the podcast.
Oh, sweetie.
But nice idea, dude.
Yeah.
Nice
But-
idea.
I thought the Kane return was brilliant there. 'Cause it was one time where it's come through the ring where he just wasn't expecting Kane to be coming through the ring on that show.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think it makes sense. Like some people like that comes out of nowhere. But if they're gonna be doing continuity, like I thought Miz was absolutely outstanding on commentary. So we've got to appreciate the gift of Miz.
and that's
Official Miz Appreciation Podcast.
that's the thing.
He's just
as well.
trying to get these
He
sound
was-
bites in, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Of course he is.
He was on commentary. There was the backstage brawl. He was the instigator. He pressed the button on the shutter to keep everybody out, and then he came back and he was like, "Oh, hey, I'm back on commentary. I just had to take care of some business. I had to, doing up his tie, making sure he still looked dapper with his hair and everything. It was, and the commentary team were kicking off like, "What was you doing? How dare you do that?" And he's like, "Well, I just had to take care of business. Just, it's just what the Miz does." And you're like, "Oh, love it. I love it."
And then at the end, when Kane is revealed as the 5th man, he says Axel was never the 5th man on the Miz's team. It's like, that was really good. Like, this was his plan all along.
I thought it was fantastic. Like it felt special. Like endings of Raw rarely seem special, but that image of like the red glow and Braun and Kane.
Hold on. Did he do the thing with the hands where the corners of the light?
No, because the cage was down.
Oh, that's a shame. We like that.
It is, but he will get the chance to do that.
I just thought it didn't even need that.
What we did find funny was how many finishes it took for
Oh,
Braun. Like,
good lord!
They hit Roman with about 5 finishes, and then he was like, "Now I'll pin him."
It took 2 choke slams, a tombstone, and 2 running power slams from two of the biggest wrestlers ever to keep him down.
To make him look strong.
Here we go. Here's Kurt.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Was
defend
John
him here.
Cena in this match?
Playing
John
Roman's
Cena
advocate.
wasn't, but I'd have had a problem if they tried to pin Roman and he kept kicking out. But the two beats that like inflicting pain, so the way they've did it is Roman's look strong in losing by taking all these finishes, but it makes sense with Braun's never been the type where he'll hit a finisher and then that's it. He's always wanting to inflict pain. So is Kane, and I thought it was brilliant, especially if they go down the route. Why is Kane siding with these people?
Well, we know why.
Why?
He's avenging the Undertaker.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
That's
could do.
it.
They
That's
could
it.
do.
Reigns, the guy that, as far as we're aware, has
Retired.
ended the Undertaker's career.
When did he end the Undertaker's career?
At
WrestleMania.
WrestleMania.
Which was when?
6 months
This
ago.
she did.
It was that important to his own brother that it took him 6 months. What was
He's
he
been-
doing?
he's
Apart
running
from
for
running
mayor.
for mayor,
He's been running
what has
for
he been
mayor
doing?
like a professional.
Is he corporate Ken?
No.
So he's not even being corporate Ken
He's
like
corporate
he's in those
on
mayor
the
promos.
outside, but on the inside.
So it's such a great story. It's taken them 6 months to figure it out. I'm betting that by the time the match comes around, the Undertaker will wake up in a shower, going, "Oh, it was all a dream." 6 fucking months to
Kane was
revenge
on
his
Smackdown,
brother.
wasn't he, as well? So he's obviously been traded to Raw.
Yeah, but I don't.
Oh, was
Yeah,
Kane was on Smackdown, yeah.
yeah, but
Well,
I
that's
don't mind. I don't mind it,
I heard,
especially.
and this is just a rumour because I know what you're like. You'll shut it down.
They had rumours at the start
Yeah, I
of the
heard
show
some,
that
I
they were
read something
talking
today,
about.
and I don't ever pay attention to what site it is, but and I know it's a rumour because it's not going to happen. But I heard something about Undertaker Kane at Survivor Series against the Shield.
Oh,
Now, I know it's
God.
not going to happen because Taker's got
And
to be
that
done.
happened before.
Yeah.
that happened
He's got to be
last
done
year?
now.
Was
Yeah.
it? Was it last year?
He's had hip replacement surgery. He's
Did they lose last time?
Oh, it
Perhaps
was
they'll
the
come
Brothers
back
of Destruction
to,
against the Wyatt
avenge
family
it
last
a year
year. That's what it
maybe
was.
Avenge brother.
Well,
Kane and the Undertaker won that match.
Something that I would like to see happen. Though,
Yeah.
something that I would like to see happen is after, I just thought the visual of Braun and Kane standing together, but put them as a tag team.
Oh, God,
That did look.
That's
How about
surely.
firing
So-
Braun Stone?
So
Oh,
you have them two
I'd
destroying
have just
all.
gone with Brain.
You have them two ruining everybody. Braun.
Brain.
You have Braun finally get a title. You have Kane go out on a decent push. And then the way they drop the belts, eventually you can have some sort of miscommunication with Kane and Braun. Them two could potentially do a program like what Braun and Big Show used to do and hopefully find that same magic. But if Sanity or Authors of Pain come up, that's the team that dethrones this unstoppable force of Braun and Kane.
yeah.
If it's Authors of Pain, then they're
Dave just
Yeah.
twitched. Do you have?
go on, Dave.
No.
Fire and brimstone thing.
I just like the idea of Brain versus the Authors of Pain.
The authors of Brain.
The Authors of Brain, it could be a new stable.
For
Brain pain.
Brain.
Oh no, it really can't.
It can.
Dave's not very well, people, so that's why he's been quite delusional this episode. So please
It
ignore.
doesn't, unfortunately, it doesn't excuse his rants from the last few episodes, but at least
but
this week.
He was delusional last week.
Yeah,
He called me a lady killer and then referenced Chris Benoit.
it all gets dark on this podcast. Yeah, there's some interesting things to consider. Obviously, how long Kane, like whether or not he's gonna be sticking it out. If this is going to be his last run.
Well,
With
if
him-
he
with
becomes
him-
mayor, he can't stick in the stay, can he?
Exactly, with him having such a heavy hand in politics at the moment, it doesn't seem likely that he's going to be sticking around for very long. So we'll have to see how things go. But it's surely off of the heel, like off of the heat of Reigns, as far as we're aware, ending the Undertaker's career at WrestleMania. It seems fitting that Kane has an opportunity to have a final run, even if it was for a few short months, kind of concluding maybe at the Rumble, maybe all the way to WrestleMania, depending on how his campaign's going. That way it rounds off, because then you get to say as well, Kane has competed in ring for 20 years. What me and Jamie were talking earlier on about the exact date of when Kane debuted, which was the Hell in a Cell between
October.
The Undertaker and Shawn Michaels at Bad Blood, and it was in October of '97. So almost to the day. I mean, it's to the month. It's been 20 years. So that's what we get to see. We get to
And I'm glad to see him back. I'm a huge Kane fan. I had the pleasure of meeting him as well, and he's such a nice guy.
Especially because it's something serious as well, isn't it? Like, he's actually getting something meaningful.
Yeah,
like,
that's it.
Although I said I'd like him in a tag team, I think with him being in a 3-on-5, I can't see him letting Shield lose.
I can't see that.
So I can see, for some reason, Kane and Braun, because they're two psychopaths on TV, that they might just have that clash.
Yeah.
Miscommunication, and then they
Disappear.
ruin the chances. You can just imagine Miz now like screaming like, "What are you doing?" like, and them two are just like slugging it out.
Well, that does make sense. Like with the Miz being the smaller guy, the manipulator, he's the brains, the mastermind. Maybe the two of them turn on the Miz and just chokeslam him.
It would be cool if
a double chokeslam from Braun and Kane in the middle of the ring, and then Reigns just.
I'd like to see maybe Miz annoys Kane somehow during the match, like a bit of miscommunication.
Yeah.
Kane starts chokeslamming everybody, just going crazy, and they need Braun to take down Kane. So like, you know, and then you've got a Kane Strowman feud.
But also with all those finishes, to me, it seemed like they was trying to one up each other there.
Yeah.
So no, mine's more superior. So it could be a case of they're chokeslamming like the Shield and whatever, and then it's like they just start chokeslamming their own team, and it's as if they're trying to prove who's the big monster. And then if them two started slugging it out, I just want to see Kane versus Braun. I think you'll get it. Yeah, I think with the magic that Big Show and Braun brought, and actually like brought back big lads wrestling, like those two giants going at it, getting
like the biggest horses.
Watch Roman retire Kane, so he's retired the Brothers of Destruction.
There you go. Yeah.
Imagine if Kane took on Braun Strowman, the match that you guys all want to see, at Starrcade.
Well, that we won't see.
Well, you would if you went there. If you wanted to see the match,
it's not even on the fucking network.
If you wanted to see it enough, then you'd go and watch it.
Yeah, I'll book a flight to North Carolina.
Everybody, Jamie's taking you to North Carolina.
I'll throw it out. Braun should retire Kane.
I'd like that.
Bury him.
Yeah.
One of those bury matches.
Either buried
alive.
Oh,
yeah.
Or
a Hell in a Cell. That's how we debuted.
Yeah.
End it where we started.
Yeah.
If put him through the ring.
Yeah, send him back down.
Send him back down to hell.
Symbolic.
Yeah.
I like it.
And have the Undertaker drag him down there.
Yeah. Shit.
Or all these hands
on Halloween.
To be fair though, if there was ever to bring back Undertaker, it needs to be to face Braun, I think, because of all the rumours of Braun and Taker for a while. So
I like the name Braun.
Instead of Roman retiring them both, let Braun.
I think if someone's going to put Braun over as the next top big man, it's going to be Taker, isn't it?
No,
because he's the big man.
To be fair, I don't think beating Taker don't have as much pull as it would have before, because let's face
it's still Undertaker.
Yeah, but Brock and Roman have beat him.
I know, but it's still Taker.
He was a
name recognition.
He was a crippled, beaten old man in the ring last time we saw him.
Yeah,
it's like that.
I don't want to see him come back personally.
Me neither.
And I love Undertaker.
He should stay away.
I love that man.
I don't want to see him compete again.
No, he's given us everything. He doesn't deserve to. He doesn't deserve. We don't deserve. That's not right, is it?
No. What are you trying to
he
say?
doesn't owe us anything. That's it.
Yes.
He doesn't owe us anything. He's given us everything. Yes.
But it was just, as bad as it sounds, it was like he needed to be part of his misery.
Yeah, that's the story they've been telling through the few WrestleManias before. Like, he was finally starting to slow down.
Like when he
took Triple H to his limit, and then Brock just he was he was now this old man.
Well, that's what they started referring to, the Old Man Undertaker.
Old Man Undertaker.
Old Man Taker. Yeah. He wasn't
like
this mystical
man Logan.
Exactly.
Yes.
He wouldn't go down without a fight.
He
ain't going to go down
he was
easily.
Going down.
But he would go down eventually.
Taker should have only lost one match at WrestleMania, and it should have been to Bray Wyatt.
As a passing of a gimmick, that would have been nice to see, but because of everything that we've found out since about how he wanted to end his career years before, about how he wanted to end the streak with Kurt Angle years before, a couple of other people, Kane, Randy Orton, they all apparently were all up to end the streak of The Undertaker. It's just surprising that it got to the number that it has, and I feel like it had inadvertently got larger than anybody even anticipated. Like the scale of his streak just became larger than anything else, which is amazing. And it's a testament to his character. But I feel like it kind of does everything else a disservice because there were so many smaller moments. Yet it seems that everybody just looks at those digits. They look at the WrestleMania streak. And that's it. But there's more to him than that.
Yeah.
He can't consolidate his career to just WrestleMania moments. The amount of matches that he had, like, was it No Mercy, the match that he had against Kurt Angle on Smackdown? And
2003?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit, maybe 2004, and it was a show stealer.
Yeah.
Absolutely stole it, and it was the match that they wanted to have at WrestleMania, but for whatever reason, because of injury, I believe, because of Kurt Angle or something, it couldn't happen. But that was the year
It
that
was
he wanted
an
to...
awesome match.
Absolutely.
Taker could go in the ring.
He
He could go.
And
Yeah.
he did so much to put over so many people and was such an important part of SmackDown. But yeah, Undertaker, obviously, he's done his time in the ring.
Owes us nothing.
But now Kane, he has a chance to end it on a high, hopefully, with an impressive face-off with somebody or people.
Let's hope it does.
depending.
So, should we move on to
SmackDown?
SmackDown? Were you mentioning that? Which I've now
Are we
watched.
mentioning SmackDown? Yeah,
Well,
of course
look
we
at
are.
that,
Of course we are. Yeah,
Of course we are.
of course we are.
Well, Jinder Mahal.
Might as well start with that.
Jinder Mahal.
The modern day Maharaja, the world champion, challenged Brock Lesnar to Survivor Series
Yes,
in a
he did.
which being billed as a non-title match. Thoughts on that?
But it might as well be a title versus title match
Point.
because it's dignity on the line. It's brand versus brand.
Yeah.
It's going to be an
It's
interesting
the
match.
top dog of Raw against the top dog of SmackDown.
Okay, so I think me and Kurt might be the only ones who agree on this. But I want to see the Maharaja, Jinder Mahal, beat Brock Lesnar clean.
Yep.
I want to see that.
You do?
I do want to see that.
I don't think it'll be clean though. I think it'd be a clever way to set up Brock's next feud if
Somebody on Raw.
If somebody on Raw costs him the match
Yeah.
that way. So it could be just that. Could be that distraction or something like that.
Yeah.
Finn Balor wants to go at him.
Yeah.
Let the demon come out. That's something like obviously Brock had those wars with Taker. Let him have something else that's mystical. If Finn Balor really does want that match, I don't see why he'll get destroyed. But with Jinder Mahal, I think Jinder to win. I think it'd be
are we
brilliant.
saying one Colossus? That's it. That's it.
Is the match at Survivor? Is it Survivor Series?
yeah.
did you
Yes.
say? Is the match at Survivor Series if it isn't going to be title versus title, or is just going to be run of the mill? I don't know, curtain twitcher match. Is it going to take place in a Punjabi prison?
They've
No,
already
I
had
hope
one. They've already had one this year.
The Great Khali's
Oh,
Lesnar's next opponent. He's going to come
Brock
down and
could
cost him.
tear apart that steel reinforced bamboo. Or was it bamboo reinforced steel? I forget which.
Regardless, I'm pretty sure Lesnar could pick up the entire structure and batter Jinder Mahal with it. But
That would be
I
fantastic.
think,
It would be
on
great
the-
to see him rag the Singh brothers about as
yeah,
well.
and that's it. Right, of all the people on the roster, I get the impression that Jinder Mahal is one of the few people as a physical specimen, regardless of, because we don't know whether or not there have been substances used to get the physique that he has, but he has got a terrifying physique.
I don't think they have. It'd have been they suspended Roman Reigns when Roman Reigns was the top guy and was involved.
Yeah, that's why because I don't know. At the
I
end
just
of the day,
think
I
it's
don't
gonna
know.
work.
Can we move away from speculating if we don't know?
Right. Well, regardless, I feel like Lesnar has respect for Jinder Mahal, like because of his physical appearance, because of his physique. He is a comparable athlete in that regard. He doesn't necessarily have to be able to go in the ring like he can, because nobody in the ring can go like Lesnar can. Nobody else is an amateur wrestling champion. Nobody else has got the accolades that Lesnar has across everything.
Yeah.
But you gotta believe that because Lesnar, he don't care. He don't give a shit at all. When they were trying to hype his match against Randy Orton for SummerSlam years ago, it was like, yeah, so what? Once we trained together, I battered him.
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't. Oh, well, you think we're mates? No, we weren't friends. I battered him. I don't care. Lesnar isn't one to make friends. It's all about the money. But you've got to believe that when he looks at Mahal, he goes, You could probably go. You could, even if I kick the shit out of you, you look good while I do it.
This is why I don't think it'll be a bad match.
No, I think it'll be good. And even if he didn't look in that physique, Brock's character is, I'm the best fighter on the planet, whether it's in UFC or whether it's in WWE. So it is.
Put me in any ring and I'll win.
Yeah, because he's the champion.
Yeah.
For his claim, he'll want to face Jinder Mahal, and it'll be interesting because obviously with Survivor Series being November 19th, there's what is it? I forgot what I was going to say now.
I can edit this out. It's fine.
Yeah, so India. India. WWE are going back to India. So Jinder Mahal's going to be defending the title in India in December. I think December 2nd or 3rd or something like that. So will Jinder Mahal want that? Will they build Jinder to have that momentum by beating Brock? And will Jinder lose the belt before 2018?
I think he will win.
Yeah.
And I don't think he'll lose the belt until January.
This Clash of Champions.
To AJ Styles.
This Clash of Champions, December 17th.
Starcade.
And then there's.
Are we ignoring Starcade?
Yes.
Is Clash of Champions a house show?
No.
No, it's
That's
an
Starcade.
actual
All
event.
belts change at Starcade.
Yeah, it's a network special, I think. Or
Clash of Champions.
Yeah, it's the Smackdown.
Isn't Clash of Champions a form of WCW?
yes, it is.
Speak
Yeah.
louder.
But these
Yeah, so I'm just speaking out loud. Yeah, Clash of Champions is a WCW former product, is it not?
Yeah, it is.
Is this
Yeah.
actually going to be a pay-per-view, this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like we just
it's-
said.
Oh,
Right, so-
We
I
did
wanted
this-
it to be a house show.
So that's SmackDown's December pay-per-view. Is Clash of Champions.
Yeah.
Cool. So presumably that would be SmackDown's last pay-per-view leading into the Royal Rumble 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am in agreement with Callum in that I feel like Mahal can take the title through to the Royal Rumble, then you take that title off of him in preparation for the road to WrestleMania.
If Jinder's still champion at Mania, that'd be fucking brilliant.
I have heard that mentioned a few
Right.
times, though.
I won't be able to get over the fact that when I saw him at Mania last time, he was getting a drink thrown in his face.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
now I
By
go to see him
Rob
next year,
Gronkowski.
and he's fucking walking into Mania as champion.
Yeah.
That's unreal. It's going to happen, isn't it?
Well, I think they've planted a little bit on SmackDown with AJ Styles coming out. I think AJ Styles is going to be the next one to
Lose.
I think he'll take the belt off him.
I don't think he will, because if they've planted seeds...
Maybe not at
if
Clash of
the-
the Champions, but Rumble.
Oh, Starcade.
Well, it'd be a crying shame if there was a top title change at House Show. It wouldn't be the first time it's happened, but it'd be the first time it's happened in about 30 years.
Samoa Joe
US
took it.
title.
Yeah, that's why I said top tier title about 30 years ago in the 80s.
NXT title's important.
It's not. It is canon, but there's a lot of casual fans who don't really
Care
care.
about NXT.
Yeah. So
This is why secretly what I want to have happen at Starcade is all the belts to change hands, and on the Raw straight afterwards I want them to say something happened previously that we can't possibly discuss.
It's a Smack...
Here's your new champions.
No, it's a Smackdown pay-per-view.
they
So you
can
want
fast
Russo and
things
Bischoff
about.
to come out and take the titles from everybody and establish the New Blood and the Millionaires Club.
Oh,
Is that what you're saying?
yeah. Well, they're bringing back a WCW property. Why not go the whole hog?
And bring back Russo and Bischoff.
Yes.
I don't want to see Rusev's revenge. I'd love to see that. I don't want to see Rusev's revenge. I don't want to see all that booking nightmare. But Rusev's revenge, where
So
he
was
takes
that-
down the modern day Maharaja.
Was that everything about SmackDown?
That
then?
was
Well-
most of the important things, I think.
And Shane returns next week.
Shane returns
Yes,
next
Shane
week.
does
That's
return
cool.
next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm interested to see where this
Yeah.
goes.
Oh, and Sammy, we can't discredit the fact that Sami Zayn got all up in Daniel Bryan's face. Seemingly, now that The Miz has moved over to Raw, Sami Zayn was tugging at the thread about Daniel Bryan
I like it.
and his career and the fact that he's a sellout
Yeah.
and the fact that he's sticking to the corporate.
Sami
You
Zayn-
become the authority.
Yeah,
Fair,
everything that he
fair
fought
play to
against.
Sammy.
Yeah.
Like I've been critical.
He's making you
Of
want to
his
punch him in the
work.
face. He's doing
he's-
something right.
He's digging them
He's
claws in
smarmy
and he's
and
hitting a
cocky.
nerve.
Yeah.
He's hitting a
I've
nerve.
been critical of him a couple of times, maybe 2 or 3
I'll
times.
just get the list of people you're critical about.
But no, like it's
every
been
page.
yeah. But no, it's been. I've enjoyed it since he's turned heel.
It's what
I
he
think-
needed.
Yeah, it's
It's what he needed.
which
I
I,
like
which
it.
I which I called, by the way.
Well, let's not even go into it. Let's get on to our TLC predictions, alright?
Oh God!
Has
Right.
anybody got the
Someone got the card.
Right. Well, I only know one match, and I need to ask this because you lot watch more wrestling than, well, anything. Is the Great Pumpkin from Charlie Brown really facing Emily Howard from Little Britain?
Have you seen the match graphic?
No.
Can we
Oh
tweet
wait,
the match?
wait, no,
Yeah.
I have. Is that the Bray Wyatt
Yes.
Finn Balor one?
That's real.
Oh my god,
That's
that
real.
looks so ludicrous.
As if
They
somebody's
just
been
painted
getting-
Finn Balor's face to look like a
Yeah,
pumpkin. Why?
Is the Great Pumpkin from Charlie Brown. And at first I thought, because I am actually ill at the moment and I go through periods of delirium, at the moment I'm having this terrible, terrible nightmare that I'm recording a podcast. But the other day I saw the graphic, and you can find it online, of what can only be described as the most disturbing looking he in WWE
do you not
history.
do you not know who Tomohiro Ishii is?
He.
I don't get why he's laughing.
Because
Stone-faced pitbull.
Bray Wyatt looks like a he in that picture.
Not a he, she. Oh,
Okay, let it go.
Jesus Christ, Dave.
It's
not being.
It's not happening, Kurt.
Let it
Just
go,
coming
okay.
forward.
So yes, he.
There goes our
Faye
Japanese
Bryant,
fans.
Faye Bryant, Bray Wyatt.
I've never actually seen Little Britain, so I don't know this Emily. What is it?
Oh,
Is-
Emily Howard was played by the taller of the two, David Walliams.
Ah, cool.
And
Okay.
it was basically a man, clearly a man, pretending to be a woman.
Fair enough.
And that's what Bray Wyatt looks like in that
Okay.
picture. I'm hoping he comes out to the ring to, like the Little Britain theme, hopefully voiced over by Tom Baker, and he just comes down to the ring going,
Right.
I'm a lady!
Once
I'm
we
a
might-
lady! No, don't look at me, I'm a lady! I'm doing ladies' things! I can't possibly wrestle you! You're a big strapping man! Oh, look, I've fallen over!
And then
Right,
batters
so-
him.
To quote Lance Storm, can we get serious?
If
Not
we-
on this podcast.
If we must. You might want to do your own podcast if you want
To
serious.
quote, what's his name? Stone Cold Steve Austin. Boring.
So, have you got the card
No,
up?
that's
Yeah,
the,
the
that's
board.
the crowd.
Yeah. We've got the card
The
up.
card. Let's have a look at the
So-
card.
Jean-Luc Picard.
So, on the pre-show, there's going to be Sasha Banks versus Alicia Fox. Are we going to include?
We've never done the pre-show, have we?
No, let's include the
Include the
pre-show.
pre-show.
It's mad to think that Sasha Banks is on the pre-show.
Yeah, isn't the pre-show the thing that nobody watches?
Not this time, because Drew Gulak is
Doing a PowerPoint
a
presentation.
PowerPoint presentation about the state of the cruiserweight division.
Oh, I'm so
I'm
excited.
s-
Yeah,
I
He
can't
was
wait.
talking about this in the car to
we
me
did
earlier.
you.
And he
We
was
did
so
retweet this.
excited.
We did retweet this off the Twitter. To be fair, I think it's going to be quite entertaining.
Tweet that, Kurt.
So I do want to see it. And I also think
Please
it's funny
tweet
as
that.
well because isn't PowerPoint like very clearly like a Microsoft property, so hasn't WWE had to pay rights
Probably.
to PowerPoint in the name of the
he's
segment?
promised a 267 slide presentation.
I think
He's
he's
gonna
like the
write-
free publicity.
He's gonna
personally.
he's gonna come out. He's gonna do his spiel for about 5 or 10 minutes. He's gonna get a couple of slides in, and then someone Enzo is gonna cut him off. He's not gonna get through
Wait,
267 slides.
He's partners with Enzo now.
Is he?
They're a stable.
Yeah.
Oh snap!
Yeah, it's.
Oh, we missed that about Raw, didn't we?
Somewhat
Them
Kalisto.
two know
Kalisto
I'm-
is going to come out. He's going to batter him with his projector.
I don't think they will, because I think they'll just.
So you think that
It's
a pre-show?
It's an hour pre-show.
267 slides.
Well, I'm going for
One,
Drew
it'd
Gulak
be more
on that one.
it'd be more entertaining than.
Drew
The rest
Gulak
of
is
it.
going to get over.
Yeah, Drew Gulak for me on that one.
I'm hoping.
There's no match with Gulak.
Yeah,
No,
no,
he's
that's right.
getting over
That's
with
the
that
point of
segment,
it, mate. Yeah.
He is.
Okay.
He's getting
Right.
over with the segment.
So,
Sasha,
So,
Sasha Banks
Sasha
and Alicia
Alicia.
Fox.
Who wants to go first?
Callum.
Okay, me. Right.
It's a tough one, that, actually, isn't it?
Especially the way they've been building Alicia Fox over the
Yeah.
past couple of weeks.
Sasha Banks.
Jimmy.
It's a tough one, but just because I'm in love with her, I'll go with Sasha.
Dave.
Alicia Fox.
I'll go for Sasha Banks.
I'm going to have to go with Sasha.
Has Dave won?
Yeah,
I think it's a tough one. I won't be surprised if Alicia won.
Yeah.
There's
Well-
no discounting it. We
Yeah.
don't know, but
To be honest, I prefer Alicia's character.
Same.
yeah. it
Sasha
is-
Banks is boring. Alicia Fox is so entertaining.
Yeah,
I love that.
that's
She's
it.
fucking
But
brilliant.
Alicia Fox has proven that she can keep taking losses but still be entertaining.
Yeah.
Sasha, if she keeps losing, what are they going to do with that? Like, what can
Yeah.
they do with that? She's
No,
on the
I'd do
pre-show
with
and a loss.
Yeah.
What are they doing with that?
Yeah, we'll stick with Sasha then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So next up, another women's match. So we'll have the debut of Asuka
I'm the
versus.
pre-show.
Oh, no, so this is the
Oh,
main
Jesus
card.
Christ.
So
oh.
Asuka versus Emma.
Holy.
So Taz on his
Shit.
podcast has been saying he thinks Emma's going to beat Asuka. He generally thinks Asuka's not. She's going to lose her undefeated streak in her first match on WWE television.
Against Emma.
I like the idea that Asuka comes up to the main roster, loses, and she goes absolutely fucking mental.
Just batters.
And becomes worse than ever,
Mm.
and goes on this tirade of just beating everybody fucking
it's like,
senseless.
It's like a fluke
yeah,
win.
she flips.
It's like a fluke win. Emma gets a roll up, and
Yeah.
Asuka's like, "Oh, you fucking did it!"
Yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah.
Or
She suddenly turns into a black woman. Oh, you fucking didn't!
Okay, if you want to take it as literally as that, Dave, then that's
I
fine.
would absolutely love that if Asuka did that.
but no, I think it'd be. Would you be okay with that if Asuka loses her?
Yeah, I would.
I think it gives another extension to Emma's character of I started the women's revolution.
And then she beats Asuka.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
So-
undefeated NXT Women's Champion.
Are you going with Emma then?
Oh man,
Oh, this is hard
do you know
now.
what? Like,
Is Taz going to
Taz,
influence your?
Taz has thrown a wrench in the works.
I know why you've told me that, Kurt.
Why?
Because I influenced you last time to go for Shinsuke instead of Jinder.
I know. I got bullied into
You would
that.
have got them all right if it wasn't for me.
I know.
Right, okay, I'm going to go with
Dick.
Asuka.
Jimmy.
Asuka.
Dave.
Asuka.
James.
I'm going to have to say Asuka if they want to get her over. Like if again, like this
Yeah.
whole casual
Yeah.
fan thing. Like as a storyteller, seen her in NXT. What an amazing twist! But I've got to go with Asuka.
Okay.
Yeah.
Emma. Nah, I'm kidding.
Oh.
Asuka. I'm kidding. Nah, surely
I
Asuka's,
signed on the
Asuka's
dotted
going-
line with that one.
Asuka's
Holy
going to
shit.
win.
You watch Emma go
Do
over
you
now.
wanna,
Like,
Callum, do you want to jot down
30
everybody's?
seconds.
I'll listen back to it and do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So next up, we'll stick with the women.
you know how many
So-
women's matches is there?
3. So
Jesus Christ.
Raw Women's Title match.
Oh yeah.
What you got against women's wrestling here, Dave?
3 women's wrestling
Don't open
matches.
that can.
One of them is on the pre-show day.
But still, 3?
Yeah, and it just shows.
One after the other?
No,
No,
but
one of them.
this isn't in order. This isn't in order.
Oh, flower.
This isn't in order
Why aren't you reading them out in order?
because I don't know what they are in order.
We don't
Well,
know
you're
what
not
match is gonna
very
be what order, do we?
prepared, are you?
So-
Dear Lord.
So Raw Women's
Oh, another
Raw
women's
Women's Title.
match.
It just shows the quality when they can have 3 singles matches of the women and still not have Bailey in a match.
We are all,
Oh yes, yeah. Oh snap!
We are all massive proponents of women's wrestling on this podcast, by the way.
No, it's just saying. It just goes to show how broad the women's roster is. That they don't have to rely on Bayley
Yeah.
to have matches.
I thought I said something wrong.
The way
I
you
was like,
delivered it was just like...
Yeah, it was so matter of
Sorry,
fact. I
don't
love it.
Even go there.
Just for the listeners, Dave's views are clearly his own and nothing to do with the other four of us.
No, and
Or
this-
1-4 podcast.
We are big female wrestling fans.
No, and this is another point as well, Kurt. You said I mean, admittedly, the way you delivered it about Bayley, fair enough. But also take into account Nia Jax's absence as well. So that's
Yeah.
two very important features of the women's roster who aren't.
Then you've got
going to
Dana
be
Brooke.
Is Charlotte Flair in this match?
No, she's
she's
in
not
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
Oh,
So yeah, so the Raw Women's
What's he
title match: Alexa Bliss versus Mickie James.
Oof.
That's going to be a good match. That's going to be an entertaining match. I really like Mickie James.
Same.
Alexa Bliss.
Alexa Bliss.
Dave,
Alexa Bliss.
as much as I'd like Mickie to get the title, I've got to go with Alexa Bliss.
I'm the same as you, Kurt.
Cool.
Pretty straightforward. We've all been the same so far, haven't we?
Well, apart from him with...
Even with
Oh
Alicia
no,
Fox.
it's
You with
me
Alicia.
with Alicia
You with
Fox.
Alicia
Yeah.
Fox.
Yeah.
Okay,
Next
so
match.
next up, cruiserweight action: Cedric Alexander teaming with Rich Swann against Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher.
I don't watch 205.
You
so
see,
really.
now I always feel like I'm in this weird impasse because they call him Jack Gallagher, but one of my best friends is called Jack Gallagher, and it's spelt the exact same way. And I
It's
don't
the
know
Americans,
when-
isn't it?
Yeah, that's it.
No,
I can only assume
it's not the American. That's his pronunciation.
But
Yeah,
my
that's-
friend's
that's how
surname
you
is spelled
pronounce
the
it.
exact
I say
same
Gallagher.
way, and he's Gallagher.
Yeah.
But so for example,
Like
for
the
example,
Oasis, the Gallaghers.
I'm Johansson, but the same spelling, Scarlett Johansson.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's-
Well, yeah.
To be
yeah.
fair, though, I'd rather we had Scarlett Johansson on the podcast than Kurt Johansson.
why? So she could bury her for your obvious like throwing shade at women's wrestling.
What was the teams again?
Yeah, go on.
So
It
Cedric
was
Alexander and
such-
Rich Swann versus Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher.
This is a very
Fair
black
enough.
and white match, though, isn't it?
Rich Swann and Cedric.
Fucking hell, Dave.
It's there. It's there. Look at that, Callum. My phone there. That big display.
I can't see that.
You can't see this.
It can't.
No.
He hasn't got his glasses.
And
It's
yet,
easy for me to just...
A car run over his glasses.
I'm actually taking down notes of when to edit things out.
I was going to say, to cut all of this.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So I will go Brian Kendrick and Jack Gallagher.
Right,
Okay.
I've gone with Rich Swann and Cedric.
Yes, I will go Kendrick and Gallagher, or Gallagher, however you care to pronounce.
I think it's an interesting clash of styles. Kendrick and Gallagher are very hard hitters. They're very stiff, so they can really get over that whole I will do dirty things to get over. I will deliver a headbutt like through a distraction. I will like a European uppercut or an elbow, something like that. I think it might be the heels, as it were. I think it might be Kendrick and Gallagher that take it. As much as I'd like to see
We didn't get Dave.
Alexander and
We can go to Dave in a second. We'll go now. Dave,
What are we talking about again?
the
so
cruiserweight.
who's going to
title.
win?
Oh, the cruiserweight match. Thankfully, a match that doesn't have any women in it. So I'm going to go with Kendrick and Gallagher, simply because there's more that you can do with that team than with what are they called, Swan and
Cedric Alexander.
Cedric Alexander. I think with Swan and Cedric Alexander that they're going to feature. They're going to feature in some way with what happens with Leo Rush, and if they bring him in, Ricochet, because you've got some fantastic opportunities there. TikTok.
Okay,
Your
yeah,
prediction?
I'll go with Kendrick and Gallagher. I don't really know who's been winning in the back and forths or whatever, but
I think Swan and Alexander won Raw, didn't they?
yeah, then definitely Gallagher and Kendrick. Yeah. Okay, so next up we'll stick with cruiserweight action.
Oh, God.
Yes, Dave. There's 3 women's matches and 2 cruiserweight matches.
TikTok boys.
So there is Enzo versus Kalisto.
rematch for the title.
Yeah.
Yep.
Enzo.
Oh, bold.
Enzo. Dave.
Double DQ. Double count out. And it'll go for one more round at some other random show.
Yeah, I feel like Kalista's going to retain as champion. If you're going to have a face champion to lead the division, then I feel like the heel tag team makes sense earlier on. So for me, it's got to be Kalista.
Kurt.
Uh,
Should we fill in some dead area? While
I'll
he's
go
thinking?
with Kalisto, like walking away with his title.
Yeah, that's it. Kalista's leaving with the title. I don't know about the.
So what did you
the
say?
other
Double
match.
count out.
I think it'll be.
So Dave's gone for a draw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Time limit draw.
Our first draw. Okay, so
I just
This
think
time-
it's going to be one of those matches where there aren't any winners and nobody will know why because we've all gone to the
The
toilet.
cruiserweight division will get 15 minutes. He'll never go to a draw. Time limit draw. Behave.
Enzo can't last that long. Anyway, so next up, the Demon versus Sister Abigail.
The great Pumpkin versus Emily Howard. Call it what it is. The match everybody wants to see. I'm pretty sure
Tell you
both of them are ill at the
Actu-
moment.
I'm actually intrigued.
No,
What the hell's a great pumpkin?
Wyatt is ill
It's a
with
character from Charlie Brown.
viral meningitis.
And isn't-
in Belgium-
I read that.
Yeah.
I read that match might not even go ahead.
As far as I'm aware,
Viral
yeah.
meningitis. Is that not the kissing disease?
That's mono.
That means that I've been going to is up on
Is
Jojo.
that not the kissing disease?
He's giving me a winky face. I don't know what that means.
I read today that match might not even go ahead because of Bray Wyatt's
We'll have to see.
illness.
If that is the case, then there is a great opportunity for all of that speculation about the NXT call-up diva. I said diva, that's not the term that we use. The NXT talent, the female talent, to come up as after the Twitter posts, after he declared about Sister Abigail still being alive.
Mhm.
There is opportunity for a promo to be cut, some
Yeah.
kind of vignette.
Uh-huh.
We don't know. I guess we'll have to see when the time comes.
But should we call it anyway, just in case it does
Yeah.
happen?
Yeah, just in case.
So
Sister Abigail.
Sister Abigail.
I'm gonna have to go with. It has to be Sister Abigail. Like they've ruined Bray enough, so let his female alter ego win.
Yeah, there has to be
Please.
some redeeming feature in his character.
Sister
So
Abigail.
Abigail.
Dave.
The pumpkin or the other bird that he was on.
Oh, the pumpkin.
So
So
Finn
Finn
Balor.
Balor.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
Demon. Okay, and then that brings us to the main event.
Slim Jim Balor.
A 3-on-5 TLC match. Shield versus The Bar, Braun Strowman, Kane, and the Awesome One, Miz.
Sorry,
So
who's
this
in this
is-
match? Say that again.
So it's the Shield
Right.
versus The Bar, which is Sheamus and Cesaro, Braun Strowman, Kane, and the Awesome One, The Miz.
Right, okay.
And this is, just to clarify, this is the only TLC match on the card.
Yep.
And what's the event called again?
TLC.
Ah, that's interesting. I don't know why they didn't just call it the women's show.
Callum, your prediction. Because we are really getting on time-wise here.
Is it time to go home?
No, he's not showing me what time it is.
No, I'm
He's-
telling you it's time. He's
Yeah.
getting
Yeah,
on.
but
It's 20
we've-
past 9.
We've still got all
Jesus,
three
I need
counts.
to be at home. Right,
Right.
come on, hurry up.
Okay.
Tell
We've
me
got all
who's
three
winning
counts.
this
The Shield.
ridiculous malarkey.
Callum's gone with the Shield.
For me, the numbers game has got to count for something, so it's got to be The Miz and The Bar.
But I just can't see why they'd have brought back the Shield to lose, so I'm going to have to go. I think Kane and Braun might do that combust and start going at it, so I'm going to go with the Shield.
I'm going to go with the Shield, and I'm going to give you a bold claim. It will not happen, but who knows? Curtis Axel, face 10. Maybe joins the Shield.
Do you know what I was thinking? Who could join the Shield? And I was hoping it would have happened. Cassius Ohno.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
the original member?
It was the original member, wasn't
The rumoured.
Yeah.
Everyone said it.
According to
Yeah.
CM
Even
Punk,
Punk said it.
according to Punk,
Yeah, but Punk said everything as soon as he left that. And
I don't see
Ohno
why he'd
from-
lie about
Yeah.
Cassius Ohno being.
he? Yeah.
He's his mate.
Well,
this is Colt Cabana, and he didn't build him up apart from just.
He dropped his name in the pipe bomb.
There's
So
my,
what?
there's my
So
bold
that's
claim.
irrelevant.
Axel will join the Shield, or at least turn face.
Jamie's bold claim of the week.
Axel joins the Shield.
Hey, you wanted a bold claim, right?
The
Axel?
shield and the axe.
You wanted a bold claim? There's your bold claim. Okay, you said the Shield, didn't you?
Yep.
Dave?
The bar and all of those other guys. Because it
Okay.
gives the Shield something to be
And
angry
you went
about.
with shit the bar, didn't you?
Yeah, I think there's weight to what Kurt's saying about Kane and Strowman clashing, and I think that will happen, but I think that the bar, being as cohesive unit as they are, will be able to clean
Set
up
the
the
bar.
scraps, and they will be able to take them down, take down the last thing, so like you get the destruction of Kane and Strowman, just destroying everybody in the ring, and then you've got the bar
Excuse me.
taking it at the end.
Well, only time will tell. We're on Sunday. I think that's our predictions, yeah?
That's all of them. Is that every match, Cap?
Yeah.
Shall we roll on
Fantastic.
to our 3 count?
It's the 3 count.
What we're going to talk about in today's free count is Wrestle Talk doing their magazine.
Yeah, that's it. They've just recently announced that they've dropped their first physical publication, their first magazine, which is quite surprising considering that What Culture, they're seemingly their most kind of closest competitor online in terms of YouTube, who have been bringing out publications for the last, is it 18 months now or so?
Yeah, about that.
About 6 or 7 issues that they brought out.
It was just after Mania 32.
Right, so Wrestle Talk of, that arguably they've realised, shit, this is a demographic, this is a product that we need to be getting in on. They've dropped their first issue. Has anybody had a chance to pick it up yet? Has anybody-
Did you know that?
Absolutely.
Did you know
It's
they had
got Finn. I nearly said Finn Balor there, but he's not writing for it. Finn Martin of the old Power Slam is one of their writers. They've got Ollie Davis from over at What Culture as a contributor, but that isn't too much of a stretch given the relationship between not What Culture, what's it called? Wrestle Talk TV and Flickering Myth as well. They've got quite a close relationship going, so that's not a particular surprise. They've got James Dixon, who I believe, I want to say it's James Dixon, who I believe used to contribute to What Culture. I know he's done a number of videos for them, but also wrote the fantastic series of books, the Titanic sinking, that type of thing about WWE and its various falls and rises. Very interesting writer. They've also got Matthew of Botchamania doing the odd bit for them. From a magazine point of view, it's incredibly well written. There is a tendency with modern magazine writing to completely misjudge your audience, and it's the same with YouTube videos. In fairness, you can see it from the What Culture videos that they put up, that quite often people say, "Oh, you did this list and you missed off all of these people in your opinion." Well, first of all, it's the opinion of the writer, so they didn't miss them off; they just didn't include them. So it's written with a very it's written with almost, I would say, a for academic view. It's written for a smarter audience, but not necessarily a smart fan. I'm sure that there are going to be smart fans out there who will read the reviews of the Progress show, the recent Progress show, and absolutely bury it. But, you know, a review is an opinion. The one thing that I do dislike about it is it's bi-monthly, and they've covered the last last few weeks of WWE programming, which is fine if you want to read a paragraph about each of the shows, but that's going to take some doing. But all in all, it's a decent publication. It's available digitally. It's available as a print publication for a £5. They are doing a subscription, so it looks like it's something they're going to be moving forward with. However, the proof will be in what issue 2 looks like, because putting out one magazine's easy. Putting out more than one, well, that takes a lot more There you go. That's my review of that.
Just to clarify as well, Dave, because that seemed like an absolutely spot-on summation. You said bi-monthly as in fortnightly or every 2 months?
Every 2 months.
Right, so I just wanted to clarify that, because if they were trying to cram that amount of effort into a like a fortnightly edition...
Given that What Culture's magazine was monthly until it wasn't...
I don't think it was ever...
It was announced as
I think it was intended to be monthly, but they realised very early on.
Whereas at least with this, they've not made a bold enough decision that they're going to run monthly. When and realistically as well with magazines, magazine sales right across all media, right across all genres are dropping. It's no longer the heyday of like Power Slam magazine, or even Fighting Spirit magazine with the best one in the world. Fighting Spirit magazine isn't as well received as it perhaps should be. It's still well written. But there's just something almost more academic, I'd say, about both What Culture's output and the Wrestle Talk one. What Culture will do now that they've lost most of the staff, despite, I'm told, a renewed focus in the offices up in Newcastle, is anybody's guess.
I did actually watch some What Culture for the first time in a few weeks with the new hosts, and I really enjoy it still. Still a decent YouTube channel, and I'm sure they won't struggle going forward.
There'll be some people that'll bash it just because it's 2017, they complain about everything. And
it's like, to move slightly away, it's like the people who complained about I absolutely love Top Gear. Top Gear is my favourite programme. What they actually meant was they actually liked the three presenters. It had nothing to do with Top Gear.
I love Joey Tribbiani on it when he came in.
Yeah,
Matt LeBlanc.
So there will be people who'll bash it no matter what.
It's a bit like TNA, Impact Wrestling, GFW, whatever you want to call it. People bash their products without watching their product.
Their product's good.
And the product is good.
Their product is good.
It's a great TV show,
everything that's been said I feel like has already been said, but I feel we'll maybe get a written piece up, maybe just to kind of try and cover a few more points. Maybe see how Wrestle Talk's publication does over the next few issues, and we can see how they've done, whether or not they've taken what Culture have done with their publication in its stride, and they've seen an opportunity to maybe gauge to improve, or if they're trying to cover maybe the absence of the what a lot of people are calling the What Culture 5, who are now moving on to create their own products called Cultaholics, who have alluded to debut or release, or whatever you want to call it, on the 1st of November. And we'll have to see how things go from then on, because you've got to assume as well that if Wrestle Talk, got their own publication, if What Culture carry on with their own as well, what if Cultaholics have their own? With what a lot of people are calling the 5 solid, creative faces of What Culture moving sideways. So presumably there could be 3 different publications all trying to cover the same basis.
The thing to bear in mind with What Culture is What Culture was more than just wrestling. Wrestling was a very small part of what their business
would be. I do think that's how they're going with
Cultaholics. And I don't think Cultaholics will touch wrestling in any great detail for an absolute age. That said, good luck to Jack the Jobber when he debuts up at Newcastle shortly.
Isn't he accompanying Liam Slater?
He is indeed in what may be the final match of the absolutely fantastic Liam Slater versus the people of Newcastle, but more specifically the fan for life Don Black.
And on to that, should we go on to our next topic?
Yes.
Good one, actually. I think you brought it, didn't you, Kate?
Yeah. So on social media, XWA and Eve promoter in the UK, Dan Reed, he went out and asked, with there being so many UK promotions, are there actually any all UK based talent only matches that are marquee? As in marquee can be on the indie scene that have yet to happen. Is this even a possible thing? Do people actually go out their way to go to a show with such a match? Or does everyone just think it's bound to happen at a show nearer to me? that I already go to. I'll just wait for them to do it. And he edited saying, I'm not including British Strong Style, Will Ospreay, Mighty Scale, etc., as they've got international exposure with NXT, New Japan and Ring of Honor.
Now, there are some matches I genuinely would like to see and would travel to see. And
Could you tell us some of those matches?
No. So you'll just have to assume that I know what I'm on about. Realistically, though, there are. The problem here is it largely depends on the audience that you're going for, because with the best will in the world, you can have two fantastic guys. Two absolute indie darlings, but if you put them in front of a family-friendly audience, it may not get the response that it would get at, say, Progress Wrestling. Now, I mean, a match that I would absolutely love to see, but would fans go to see it necessarily, would be Flash Morgan Webster versus Drew Parker without Sabu, unfortunately for 4GW there. But, I mean, there was nothing wrong with that match. It was a fantastic match. It's just that I would have loved to have seen Flash Morgan Webster versus Drew Parker, because I think there are two characters there that would work incredibly well. Progress themselves have had a whole run of matches that I think drew people to the promotion. Anything that Jimmy Havoc did, anything that Will Ospreay did, the origin stuff.
Yeah, is that taken into account of knowing this? So the storylines behind that. So taking away the storylines, is there just that marquee match? So, for example. Using international talent. So myself and Dave went to Rev Pro to watch Kurt Angle versus Zack Sabre Jr. That was my first time going to Rev Pro, and my sole reason for going was to see Kurt Angle versus Zack Sabre Jr.
Well, I think part of the problem with this is if it's a marquee match, in effect an exhibition match that you want, should that be what a promotion wants to do? Because if you have a look at it, PCW built up its fan base by not only by using imports broadly effectively, but also from the storylines that they do, because it's the storylines that keep people coming back. If you have a marquee match of, let's just pluck two names out of the air, El Ligero versus Rampage Brown could be a marquee match on any show, but it's what you do with them after that brings the fans back. Storyline to me is far more important than bringing in by just trying to almost pop pop attendance. Why would I want to go see? Why would I want to travel to a show just to see one match when I'm actually more interested in everything that goes on around it? I'm not going to go to a show just to see a one-off thing and then think the next month, oh, I hope they do another one-off thing, because that's going to make me want to go back again. I want a reason to go back again and again and again.
Yeah, I completely agree. So when I suggested where I'd travel to go watch this match would have been, so I thought, I don't know if it's happened, but Jimmy Havoc versus Nathan Cruz. I think both of them are two of the strongest workers inside the ring, on the mic and telling stories. And it would be the story them two could tell that I'd be intrigued in. So, yeah, like you, I've always been more story-based driven, but there is places like PWG and that they have got their own niche audience that, and I like to check out PWG at times, but there is those fans that will travel just for the match itself and not care about the story inside it. A bit like, so New Japan, a lot of the times they'll have various matches where people want to see it, but it may not have a story. So do you think there could be any of that in the UK, or could it be a case of overexposure because a lot of the companies are using the same workers?
And that's it, isn't it? That if I were to look at the easy thing to do is to look at somewhere like a Progress and think, right, we're going to run a promotion in Leeds, and they had Wrestler X and Wrestler Y on, so we'll just run the same show here because that'll get people coming here, which is quite true.
Marty Scurll vs Will Ospreay, as good as a match, it's brilliant, but because of how much fire they got in Rev Pro and Progress, every Tom, Dick and Harry was trying to
and it's like, well,
Ospreay best
well, why? I mean, it's like, well, why should... Because they almost become a travelling pantomime act.
Yeah.
You're seeing that, and realistically as well, the difference between, say, we'll look at Jimmy Havoc and Will Ospreay as a prime example. The difference between Jimmy Havoc and Will Ospreay doing what they did at Progress and if they were booked elsewhere on, I don't know, XGW running out of some town hall in the middle of nowhere. The difference that you've got is story.
The story being told.
Because you've not, in Progress, you've not got two guys who are just turning up to have a wrestle. You've got two guys who are turning up to tell a story. I've no doubt that if you were to put them at any promotion, they would give it their all. But it's still the reason why they're doing what they're doing.
Okay, so to elaborate on that, America have a lot of companies that'll do exclusive contracts. So there's WWE, of course, GFW, well, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, Lucha Underground, WWN, so like Evolve. If the UK started doing exclusive contracts, do you think that might be able to build the marquee matches? So Will Ospreay put it on his social media a couple of months back, and he said, so Joe Coffey's ICW, Pete Dunne's Progress, Marty Scales Rev Pro, and then those companies try and work with each other to not book those guys for a while, and then when Joe Coffey does go to Progress or Pete Dunne does go to ICW, it's a bigger feel because there's not that overexposure of just putting him in a random match.
I love that idea.
And when they do go across, it's like, holy shit, Pete's here now.
One of the issues with that is that it conflates two things here. It conflates the home company, as it were, with the idea of a contract, because realistically, and this would happen back in the old days of territories, you wouldn't want your champion or your head guy, your contracted guy, to go to, from say ICW to Progress and lose, because what comes back is the guy that lost.
Yep.
And what that says is, oh well, nobody here is capable of beating him, but all of those people out there are, which doesn't help with the idea of your champion because it weakens the champion.
Yeah.
The idea of exclusivity to individual companies would end up becoming a power play, because the likes of
Culture or Five Star with a lot of money behind them.
Yeah, and realistically, if I was running What Culture and the idea of exclusive contracts came up, all I would do is sweep up everybody, stick two fingers up to you and say, well, Vince got away with it, what you going to do now? And sit back on my laurels and leave the rest of the country with, like trainees, quite frankly, as champions. The idea, however, of territorialising the UK so that you had guys working in particular areas of the country, which broadly they do now. You just have to have a look at somebody like, going back to the earlier discussion about Liam Slater. Liam Slater seems to have pretty much a monopoly on work in the north of England. Yeah. It's an absolute travesty that he doesn't appear down south, but that'll happen one day, I'm sure.
Rev Pro.
The idea that you have certain wrestlers who work in certain areas of the country and is a lot more palatable than the idea of somebody with money just buying the talent.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Callum, what would you think?
I like the idea of exclusive contracts only because of the benefits it could have. Like you said, there would be a benefit. People would go to see just Pete Dunne at Progress or travel up to see Joe Coffey in ICW. I like the idea, but I didn't think of it the way Dave said, as in
people can get greedy.
People can get greedy and just snap everybody up. So I think on that purpose alone, it's a bad idea. So,
but, Andy Quilden, is it Andy Quilden at LDN? No.
Andy Colden's Rev Pro.
So it's definitely not Andy Coulden. I apologise profusely, Andy, because of that. The promoter of LDN, pretty much.
Who are LDN?
LDN are a London-based promotion who...
Very creative.
Who
Fucking hell.
For a long time.
They've been around for a very long time, but they do tend to only use very specific workers. Is that right? Well, it's his company. He can do whatever he wants with it, and he has been around for a long time, so he is getting people there. The only problem with that is it's a very small pond mentality. It's the equivalent of a group of lads playing five-a-side every weekend and thinking, oh, we're ready for the big leagues now, and wondering why nobody touches them. Or, to bring it back to music, as I often do, the idea that you were going to get anywhere by just singing in your bedroom every weekend, sitting there wondering, well, why isn't anybody listening to me?
Well, it's funny that you actually mentioned it to music, because you made a lot of analogies that actually directly correlate to music. I'm going to try and surmise this, because obviously this is a wrestling podcast, but a couple of the bands that I've been in previously, we've worked with different management, with different record labels, trying to communicate a different kind of deals so that everybody benefits, and ultimately that is the thing. It's everybody has to benefit from this. I could work for all these different management companies and they can say, oh, well, we can do this and we can do that with you, and that's great, but if they can't deliver, why should I stay with them? As a band member, as a band, I'm going to go with the people that can ensure that I get the best amount of money, the most amount of, or rather the most amount of money for the least amount of work. They need to make me feel like I'm special if they want to keep my business. Because if I'm good at what I do, they're going to want to keep my business. Because if I'm smart enough, I'll go into business for myself.
Yeah.
So it's the exact same thing when you're looking at the wrestling business. All of these people that know that they're a hot commodity, if they want to work with a company, then you've got to believe that there's got to be a back and forth. They understand that they're a hot commodity, and they are going to try and do their best to either try and lift the stock of the Fed that they're working with, the company that they're working with, the management, or they're going to be moving elsewhere. So it's equal parts the in-ring performers and the management and the promoters to make sure that everybody reaps the rewards. So they're all... I feel like ultimately there has to be a little bit of give and take with everything that's been said, because in an ideal world we'd like to see that everybody reaps the benefits, but unfortunately that's not the nature of business.
No. And I mean, as well, when you look at the number of companies in the UK, there aren't enough wrestlers to do the number of matches that would be needed to be put on every single week. And realistically as well, there's a reason why guys like El Ligero, Rampage Brown, Nathan Cruz, and very few others are regularly booked practically everywhere. It's because people know that they are good. If it was just a case of El Ligeros and Rampage Brown working for one company, it's going to be the company that pays them the most. It's going to rob them of everybody else, and just because they get paid the most doesn't mean they're in the best company.
That's it, money talks.
Yeah.
If Shane McMahon has anything to say about it, is that money talks.
Genuinely, if somebody would offer to pay me twice what I'm on now to do very little work, I'd take it.
We all would.
But it could be a case of that company that they're exclusive to manages their contracts. So I'm not saying like Impact Wrestling where they get a percentage, but if a company asks, oh, can we use so-and-so, yeah, we don't mind you working with those. And yeah, just work together, but...
I can't see it working, unfortunately. I can't see it working like that. I think that there are going to be some companies... I mean, a beautiful thing at the moment tends to be that some of the bigger companies put out all of their booking dates, all of their show dates for next year, for 2018. So Progress have announced when their shows are for 2018. PCW have. I believe some of the smaller companies like Tidal have as well, which at least lets people know when things are going to happen. But also it must help the wrestlers know when they're likely to be used in an ideal world. There's a couple of things. On the 23rd of December, there are 2 shows that are on the same date that share. Well, no, it's not even a sharing of talent. It's just that the talent appears on both shows. Now, because they're both evening shows, they can't possibly appear in 2 places at once.
Unless you're Ligero or something.
Yeah. And as a result, it does mean that one of those groups of fans are going to be looking at the card for that show and thinking, oh no, so-and-so's not on this. Great opportunity for them to think, I'll nip down the road to wherever, but how many fans would do that? It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to be rushing
You're right.
shit here, but my voice is going.
It's because he hasn't spoken in so long. He's got back to his old man voice.
Zoned out. As much as we've talked about that, I should move on to the last topic because time is getting on, and it's 9:45 now.
Okay,
Jesus.
Yeah.
Fucking old man Jamie.
10?
Yeah.
It's 9:45.
I'm
So
up for work in 5 hours or so.
our final one, NWA.
Okay.
Which, as we all know, stands for with attitude.
Jesus Christ.
That's what the band name was.
Right, we're a wrestling podcast. We're talking about wrestling.
Okay, who's the first name you're going to mention in the NWA conversation?
Well, obviously Billy Corgan.
Billy Corgan, the famous wrestler. Billy Corgan. No. He was the. So we've gone from the
Dave,
music of the
we're cautious of time, stop going on
NWA to music of Billy
The
Corgan.
Rock and Wrestling Connection.
Here we go.
Just like the
yes.
80s, we're bringing it back around.
Yes.
Billy Corgan, the salvation of Impact Wrestling. Well,
With
not
his
of Impact
20-year
Wrestling.
plan. Let's not forget a
Exactly,
20-year
of
plan.
NWA.
Yeah,
Go on,
well,
tell
us. Billy Corgan was on the Busted Open podcast, and he had some interesting things to say regarding the direction that NWA is going to go in. So he's cancelled.
Genuinely hope the Busted Open podcast is presented by Busted.
No, it's
Oh.
Sirius XM. So he's cancelled all the affiliations that NWA had with all the smaller territorial companies.
Oh, is he Vince McMahon?
Yep. Well, it's his money.
Jesus.
So he's putting his money into it. He wants to build the brand in his vision. So fair play to him. He's hoping that they're trying to get a TV deal. They will be doing online shows with no paywall because they want to be a content company before just a live event company, which is interesting.
Good on
And with this, they are looking at doing exclusive contracts.
Right, wow.
So, like Ring of Honor, like Impact Wrestling, like WWN with like Matt Riddle and such. So he said money talks.
There you
That's
go.
all.
You see, agreeing with me there,
you
especially
go.
if he's throwing out these
And-
20-year contracts.
Yeah.
Money always
That's-
talks.
that's his.
20-year contract.
He ain't going to be offering 20-year contracts out there.
Sabu
But
he's not
have a
gonna be-
20.
yeah.
Terry Funk
He's
have a
not-
20-year
Terry
contract.
Funk.
That's it. He's not going to be throwing out the old Mark Henry 10-year ironclad contract.
Oh,
or
he
anything like that.
should.
No, but it's interesting that you bring this up because, again, if you look at WWE's YouTube channel, obviously they own the rights to all of their stuff. And the residual money that they make a month, it may not seem like it's very much compared to the amount that they make every month from the network, but it's still a considerable amount of money. Enough money to probably cover some of the advertisement. And YouTube channels, YouTube videos do have advertisements if the videos are long enough, running either at the beginning, halfway through, at the end, or even during. So if Billy Corgan is wanting to have augment a YouTube channel or maybe have a live streaming service that incorporates advertisements, there is certainly grounds for him to be able to make back his money on a show-to-show basis. Not only from ticket sales and live events, but also from online streaming, even though there is no paywall. So good on him for thinking on his feet, and he's thinking very forwards.
He's got a plan for it.
Yeah.
like
A
you said,
20-year one.
This is the guy who knows business, you know. He knows how to promote himself. You
Like-
know, he knows what he's on about.
Yeah.
It really excites me, this. And someone who's old school as well loves the old NWA.
Well, I mean,
well, it's not as
you
much.
know.
It's old school meets new school. Like his
Yeah, I
vision.
mean, but the NWA, I'm a
His
massive
his
old
vision
school
is
fan, so
his
to have
vision
that
is
back,
yeah. Like he said that there is still future in like broadcast deals, but he really thinks everything's going down digitally, where things
He's right.
aren't just going to be a weekly 3-hour product. It
full
could
time,
be a 24/7 thing where there's
Wow.
constantly content available.
Yeah.
Oh, I genuinely hoped it was going to be like a 24-hour wrestling match.
No,
Oh, that would be
Well,
brilliant.
I mean, it seems like Billy Corgan is taking the principles that Kevin Spacey first had when he was talking at conventions and appearances about Netflix, about the idea of streaming media, and the thing, the main product should be the fact that people don't have the time to commit to. It's 3 hours at this time.
Yeah.
They should be able to drop in and out when they want to, when they can, when they need to,
Yeah.
and being able to facilitate that. He spent 25 years in the public eye, but like as the lead singer of the Smashing Pumpkins, so he understands from musicians, as a businessman, dealing with other companies, with larger conglomerates trying to take over. He understands
So I was
what he needs
saying
to do
earlier.
to negotiate,
Yeah.
and to come to some kind of terms of agreement with so many different parties. I feel like if there's going to be anybody that can do it, it's surely somebody that came from the grassroots and has managed to become a millionaire,
exactly.
thriving in a creative sense.
He knows what he's doing.
Music is the original on-demand entertainment thing. Because can you imagine if it was like, right, yes, you can hear the new, I don't know, One Direction album,
But only at 2 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
But
I mean, that'd be great.
But
Yeah.
The radio.
That's what the radio is.
Yeah.
It's, I will give you a snippet. You can hear the new single,
Yeah.
but then you
And-
have to go to the record store to buy the record.
And you would
It's
listen to
24/7.
the
Exactly.
You would listen
going.
to the whole of, I don't know, Annie Nightingale's programme to see what was played. You wouldn't know specifically what she was going to play at a particular point. It's a great idea, and Godspeed
That's it.
to him.
Yeah.
So he said some ex-Impact stars that are no longer there have already reached out saying they want to work with him in NWA. There's a lot, like he said, his music name's not going to draw people to NWA,
No.
but it opens a door for him to speak to
Yeah.
media like Forbes, Wall Street Journal, Rolling Stones, and with that sort of mainstream media,
Yes.
and Billy
His
Corgan.
name still carries some
That's
weight.
it,
Yeah,
and
it does.
that's top level media as well. It's not
Yeah.
like he's talking to the Daily Star or any
Yeah.
kind of dirt sheet
The
or
Sun.
anything like that. This
Let's
is
not
all.
mention that paper.
This is top level stuff. Like Rolling Stones is at the forefront of music
Yeah.
development and alliance to pop culture. Forbes is business. These are all high level publications that he has connections to. So, in terms of getting traffic to where it needs it to be, it makes
I
complete
really hope
sense.
this goes somewhere. I really do. At the end of the day, he's a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's like all of us. He's a wrestling fan. He wants the wrestling business to thrive.
Look
You
at
know?
his influence at Impact.
Yeah.
Like, and this is one of his visions, and something that he said as well was he doesn't want just a lot of wrestlers there. He wants everybody to be doing something.
Yeah.
And that's what he started doing at Impact. Like, he ended up doing helping with the Broken Hearted stuff.
He did. He allowed that to happen. Yeah.
He got Crazy Steve and Abyss together and formed Decay. That was probably one of the best gimmicks
Oh, God,
of
yes.
last year. Like, they were fantastic.
He's
And
a smart man.
yeah,
He
and
knows
he's-
what he's doing.
It'll be interesting
and he's
to
got
see
Dave Lagana
with,
working with him as well.
It'll be interesting to see what he does going from creative to actually running the business. But I think that about wraps us up.
I think we're there. I think so.
Is that the free count done?
I think that's the free count done.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Do we want to plug our social media?
Yeah.
Oh, we
again,
did that
or-
earlier on.
One quick plug.
Oh,
Let's
okay.
go.
Oh,
We have to do it.
brilliant. Okay.
Right.
James.
Start with James.
Right. So you can find me at Roman Oyster on most social media platforms. And Steve.
Okay.
At Kurt Johansson 93 on Instagram and Twitter.
Dave. Dynamic Thinking.
You can find me
Jimmy?
at Dynamic Thinking, yes, why not, on all things. Can I just read out one real, because you're all about fan feedback, you lot, I've noticed, but you
Oh, go
don't
on then.
bring,
Yeah,
up,
you did
bring up
promise.
the fan feedback.
Go on then.
Go on.
I'm just going to pick one tweet at random right now using our randomator,
Guaranteed it's his own tweet.
and it is, these just keep getting better and better. If I was running this show, I'd sack everyone else and just keep that new guy. Thank you to that loyal listener.
Sent in by at Dynamic Thinking.
I didn't see who sent it because
So,
Jamie?
I am at OWCW on Twitter, at the Overweight Cruiserweight on Instagram. Callum.
At Palace of Wisdom on Twitter. and One Fall Pod for everything else.
But on Instagram, aren't you?
Sexy Ass Lottery.
He's Sexy Ass Lottery. He's simply the greatest.
And on that bombshell, thank you for listening. We'll see you again next week.
Thank you very much.
See you
Thank
soon.
you.